Live. Okay. Hmm. Hopefully there's something different going on here. Let me know if you can hear me in the chat, because quite honestly, yeah, it's looking a little different. I don't know. Oh shit! What's going on with my hair? What's going on with my hair? Okay. Okay. Yay! Okay, you can hear me. Oh, I'm so happy to be back. It's been so long. I feel like it's been forever. It's been since before the Journey to Truth conference. I think it was April. Was it April the last time? God, it's been so long. My God, I have all these fans going on in the background right now because my house is not air conditioned. So just kind of chilling the heat here and hoping that I sound okay coming through here. Let me go ahead and give everyone a shout out here in the chat. I just want to say hi there, Alexis. Nice to see you. Victor, Miss White Swan, Braden, always a pleasure. Queen Victor, oh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy to see you. I'm sure some more people will roll in here as the time goes on. I have I made some notes this time so I could try and make sure that I get everything done and everything out because I am fucking ready to. But I figured the first couple things I should talk about before we get into the big stuff is let's see, where do I even go from? Where do I even start from? Well, first of all, as you can see, last you guys heard, I had to have my lower teeth removed and a denture put in, and that was hell. That was fucking hell. And before it even happened, before the conference, because it didn't happen until after the conference, but I don't know, I was in a the place that I was in health wise was not good, and I was like in so much pain. Something was going on with my shoulder and all this side, and I was literally just like, at this point, I was like, oh my god, I'm dying. I just kept saying this to myself, and I was like telling my boyfriend at the time, I'm just like, it's like I fucked up, I've waited too long. Look what happened. It's because I kept putting it off, and now I don't have a doctor, and now I don't know where I'm gonna go, and I don't even know what's wrong with me, and I'm dying. I'm dying. It's like what I kept saying to myself, and I had to like shake myself. I had to be like, fucking stop saying that, because you know what happens when you start saying those things in your mind. You're literally telling your body what to do. So I was like, no, we are living. We are choosing life. We are alive, And so it I managed to survive and get to the Journey to Truth conference. I was in super amount of pain. I pulled some muscles in my shoulder, and it was really bad. And so I get there, and the conference this year was completely different. There were so many people that were supposed to be there that weren't, and it literally changed like the whole vibe of it. It just felt like even Tyler, who put on the show, Tyler and Aaron, I don't know, I could just feel that they were like done with this venue, this conference type style and everything. And it was confirmed for me when Tyler said himself at the conference that he was tired of these classroom style conferences and he wanted to do something more like grid working. He wanted to do something more out in the world. So that's why they're having the Journey to Truth conference in Hawaii next year, and I definitely am going to try and make it. Um, Hello there, new person. Hi, Cass. So anyway, where was I at? So the conference was completely different this year. I am looking for. I do think the Hawaii one, even though it's going to be smaller, I think that it will be nice. But yeah, it was just a completely different vibe. So I'm really looking forward to this next conference coming up. Which, if you don't know about it yet, I'll just tell you about it real quick. It was a different vibe for sure, Braden. But there's a conference coming up in July. If you want to come hang out, there's still time. There's still tickets. It is in St. Petersburg, Florida. It's going to be July 15th through the 18th. And then they're going to have 2 beach days called the Day of Being. So if you want to, I'm going to go to one of those days, but not both of them. So if you want to come hang out with me, please go to the Full Disclosure Now website. You can find it on Facebook too. You can find lots of people in the community posting about it though. But I'm hoping to see some of you guys there. I know there's a lot of people that I know are already going to go, and that's going to be exciting. And hi, Barry. Nice to see you again. Oh, anyway, so let's see. So we got that part done. Yep. I don't know what's been going on with Facebook lately, but if you're not following me on Facebook yet, I don't even know why you're not. Because I mean, this is where most people find me at this point, and I don't know. I've broken some glass ceiling there because my Facebook page is just booming, and I'm getting lots more followers every single day. But the landscape of it now has completely changed. Facebook has changed too. It's like the conference was completely different, and now Facebook is completely different for me. It's like, how they show like one name. There'll be like reacts, and there'll be like one name, and the name that they show is usually a reflection of people who participate on your page the most. You know what I'm saying? And before I would go on, and it would show me a bunch of different people that were all like my friends and stuff like that. And because I got so many new followers so quick, and these people are spending so much time on my page, it's like all these new names are showing up, and I feel like I'm like all alone. I'm like, where are all my friends at? I have to actually go and look at the reactions to see it. So anyway, find me on Facebook if you want. If you're new here, whatever, please think about subscribing. If you could help me out and hitting the like button. You can find me at Aurora Diamond Heart. I have 2 pages, a backup one that I'd never even go to anymore. So just friend request both of them, and I'll see the one. Anyway, so let's go on, shall we? Okay, so I think the other thing I wanted to get into real quick is that I have another funny dream synchronicities that have happened recently, which was really, what makes you recall your dreams? I've discovered nicotine patches. Like I put 2 and 2 together, and I realized because as soon as I quit, well, I mean, I'm bad. I'm struggling to quit smoking. So anyway, I was trying to quit smoking. I was doing really, really good with it because after I had my dental work done, which, like I said, it was hell. It was fucking hell. And oh my God, I honestly was like, did I even do the right thing? But at the same time, I knew I did, because even the pain I was in from the dental surgery was nothing near the pain that I was in when I was getting those infections over and over and over again. So I really should have just bit the bullet and did it sooner than this, quite honestly, because I'm so much better now. I feel so much better now. And quite honestly, I had a lower partial for so long that went around the few teeth I had left that it just feels like that they're still there to me, honestly. So it doesn't even feel any different, you know? Oh, did someone put a link in the chat for me, Victor? You did? What is, oh, for my Facebook thing. Thank you. Hey, could you find the link for the Full Disclosure Now website, Victor? Just throwing that out there real quick. One of my mods anyway. Someone find the Full Disclosure Now thing. Put that in there too if you can. Anyway, so I started having a whole bunch of remembering my dreams, which I was kind of curious because, back in the day, I had gotten a bunch of dreams when I was pregnant with my daughter. And then all of those dreams started coming true, as they were actually not dreams at all. They were experiences I was going to be having. It was like I got in a sneak peek at my timeline and what was going on with it. And so every conference I've went to, I've had a dream about, pretty much, except for, I think, the Journey to Truth one. I don't remember any dream for that one. But I think I had a dream about the Florida conference, And so in this dream, I'll just tell you guys, I'm just going to tell you 2 quick dreams, and then we're going to go on to some of the rest of it. So I had this dream that I was in this vacation spot, and I was hanging out with a group of people, and over on the ground there was this cat, and it looked like it was injured a little bit on its back leg. And so I went to go pick it up, and when I picked it up, it shape-shifted, and it went from a gray cat to a Sphinx cat. And then it shaped, and I was like, oh wow, thank you for letting me hold you. And I put it down, and then it shape-shifted again, and it turned into a white dog. And then the white dog basically walked into this forest, and it shapeshifted again, and it turned into this white dragonfly. And I just thought, wow, that is really cool. And so I was hanging out with my friends in this dream, and I was like, wow, guys, like, look at that. We were all like, kind of like, wow. And then behind one of my friends, there was this Doctor Who doll. It was a David Tennant doll. And everyone was like, wow, look at that. It's Doctor Who, David Tennant doll. And I was like, yeah, wow. And so we were sitting down at this table, all of us together. And my first boyfriend was there, and he was like sunbathing, and he had his family there with him. And this girl leaned over to me, and she gave me a pair of ribbons. They were these real thin yellow ribbons. And I said, thank you very much. It was time to go. So I got up and I left, and that was the end of the dream. So I will report back if any of that happens. But let's go ahead and look at the other dream so you can see what I'm fucking talking about and why it's like. See, because if it doesn't happen the next day, like this felt like an actual experience. Some dreams, they're just they just hit different. I don't know how else to put it. So the next day, or not the next day. So I had this other dream just recently. This is a little bit it's a little revealing. I'm sorry guys here, but so I had this dream that I was hanging out with this guy that I used to talk to, a friend of mine, and we were about to get intimate. Okay, it didn't happen because it was like he got distracted by alcohol, and I honestly, in the dream, I was kind of like, oh my god, like what do you even want? He was like bugging me about it, and I was just like, oh, fine, whatever. And then he got distracted by alcohol, and it was over, right? And so I had this dream, and my boyfriend was in town at the time. So I woke up and I'm like, holy shit. I was like, you're not going to believe this dream I just had. And I told him the dream, and he was kind of a little bit upset about it. And I was kind of like, why? And he's like, well, your dreams come true. Like if your dreams come true, what is that saying? And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, it's an element. Some element of it has to come true. You know what I'm saying? Oh, wait, no, so he wasn't. Was he here? Yeah, no, this happened a couple days after. Okay, so I thought we would smooth it over. I thought I had done some reassuring, but he had left, and then the next day, like there was still some talking going on about it, and I sit down from my work day, and there was American Dad playing in the background, and an episode had just started, and in this episode, Francine and Stan, if you guys don't know, this is the married couple, Francine and Stan. It opens with Francine, and she's basically getting intimate with Jeff, her son-in-law. Okay. And it turns out that it's just a dream. She wakes up and she's like, oh my God, what a crazy fucking dream. And so the next day she tells the whole family, and everyone is fucking laughing, right? Everyone. And then Stan, though, he's laughing, but under the table, he's like squeezing a fork, and he's like getting mad. And so he's like, Francine, can I see you here? And he pulls her into the other room, and he says, all right, well, you can never dream again. Like you can't do that. No, like, and she's like, Stan, what are you talking about? She was like, it was just a dream. And he goes, yeah, but dream, they say you're supposed to follow your dreams. And if you follow yours, this is where it's going to lead you. So I'm like, wow, I had a dream, a replica dream of this exact episode I was getting ready to watch on American Dad. And I was like blown, just like, wow, this is just so funny that these dreams are still, this happens for me. I'm like, how fucking strange is that, right? He even said almost the exact same thing that my boyfriend said about it. And, I'll be honest with you guys, the reason, I already knew why too, and I explained this, like the reason why the guy in my dream was in my dream is because I'm always planning this dream that I'm going to come out here and I'm going to do this dream, right? I'm going to tell everyone these types of things. I want people to know these things are possible, right? So that they can break the chains of belief in themselves, the disbelief in themselves, and they can experience the same type of stuff that I'm talking about, because this is our connection to the universe. This is our connection to God, that I have found a way to experience, I guess you could say. So anyway, the reason I already knew why. I already knew why he was in the dream. And it was because I was thinking about my stream, and I was thinking about the first Starseed Adventure conference I went to, where I had my heart activation and my sacred marriage or whatever. And quite honestly, this is what was so funny about it. I sincerely thought it was going to be that friend of mine. Because I set up a code phrase with God. I said to God, I want someone to say this particular phrase to me, and when they say it, if it's true, I'll feel it. It has to feel like it's true, because that's how you know the difference between something that's real and not, in my opinion. Does it feel like it? Just like what I talked about when I was baptized as a girl and I was supposedly saved, but I didn't feel saved. I eventually did work on my spirituality enough to where I do feel that. Like, I understand the concept, because it's like when you read about how to ride a bike. You can read about how to ride a bike and you can talk about it and you can visualize it and everything like that. But until you actually get on that bike and ride it, no words will ever really do it justice. You know what I'm saying? So I was just thinking about the fact that I really thought it was going to be this guy, and it wasn't. And it was because, like you all know, my main guide, my Mr. Universe, that has been with me for a long time now, because he was the one that come and told me that it wasn't going to be that. Everything he told me has happened so far. And he's like, no, it's not going to be him. It's going to be this other guy. This is what's going to happen. You're going to do this, 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 and this. And then all of it fucking happened. So I'm like, okay, like this is some very strange power. So bringing that up, the reason I'm kind of segueing into this is because, kind of like with other word phrases that my main guide likes to come and give me, this is how I'm able to remember these things so well, is because if you don't know the meaning of certain things and you have to go and do research on it, that's what makes it stick. If someone just tells you something, it doesn't always stick. So it's like, how do I hold on? Like, it's like the puzzle pieces God was giving me. All right. So that I could eventually build my tower, so to speak, which is everyone has to build a tower. Everyone builds a tower, and it's built out of your beliefs, what you believe is really true. And if a tower moment comes and Zeus throws a lightning bolt down at you, so to speak, and there's something that's false, then it should fall away because you want it to. You don't want to build your tower on false beliefs. So, like, for instance, one of the things that my guide came and told me after I asked for a genetic equal, okay, like I heard someone saying that phrase, and I had already been manifesting relationships and stuff like that. And when I heard genetic equal, I was like, oh, that's what I want to do. And so I put out the request. I want my genetic equal. It'll be a match. I'm like, I'm sure there's a few of those out there, right? And then my guide comes and he's like, you should look up what genetic equal means, right? And as it turns out, a genetic equal basically is a twin flame. So that is what they had lined me up with, because in order to have my sacred marriage with God, which was an interdivine union, okay, I would need my template to be corrected, so to speak, because everyone's templates got corrupted after the fall, right? And this is going on Lisa Renee's work in the Ascension Glossary. If you guys are wondering where I'm getting some of these technical words and stuff from. Okay, so the whole point was, and even when you go and you look up Solar Feminine Melchizedek, and it talks about how the heart ignition happens, the twin flame heart ignition, sacred marriage union, it has to be, like, it has to start. And this is important, guys, because it can't begin with, oh, I want to find a partner. It literally says it in the whole description of it. It's like the only way that you get to this place and the only way that you really activate yourself fully is by first like me, the female, the Solar Feminine Melchizedek, she would have to remember her mission. She would have to work on remembering it and activating herself and rebuilding some of they called it the staff codes, the rod and staff codes. Okay, and that's what this person, the genetic equal, holds for each other, is their rod and staff codes. So that is what I'd asked to really be done, was for my divine masculine template to be fixed, because I knew that without that, if I ever did want to have a match with someone, that I would need that. Even though at that point, when it first came to me, that whole ideal, by watching my daughter with her father and realizing that, wow, this is the reason I've never been able to have a really successful and healthy relationship, because the divine masculine template that I was given, which is basically a father figure's example when you're a child and the programming is being implemented on the brain. Okay. And so I did not have a good one. And this is why I was attracting men. This is why I was attracting men that hurt me, that would abandon me, that would just do all sorts of really mean things to me. And it's because for me, someone doing that was a replica and an example of what I'd already lived. And so since I saw this with my daughter, and I was so grateful that her father was such a good example, and that I truly believe she's going to be able to go out there and find and attract a man one day that will give her and show her that same amount of love and devotion that her own father did, which he did. He really stepped up to the plate. But I was not lucky enough to have that. And so I went into my room and I cried my eyes out. And I just said to God, you know what? That's okay. That's okay. I can love me. I can be there for me. And I think that was the beginning. And the fact that my intentions were as pure as they were, I guess you could say, that started me on the path to actually correcting this. and I'll just be real with you. I had no idea or hopes that this would ever be corrected for me. I accepted my life and that I would just be living a life like almost like a monk or a nun or whatever like that. I was going to devote myself to God. I wanted to get rid of everything that I was, everything I thought and feel, and I told God, show me how you think and feel. Act through me. I will be a vessel for you to work through, right? So anyway, so one of the other words, so genetic equal. That was one of the things my God came and said. There's many times though that he's done this for me, and I have gone and I've gone and I've looked it up, and it's been so much more meaningful. So I was sitting there one night a couple weeks ago, and I was laying in bed. Quite honestly, I wasn't even thinking anything. I was just watching TV. I was hanging out. My boyfriend was in town, and he was laying next to me. He was asleep, and my God came to me, and he said, maladaptive daydream. That's what he said to me. He said, maladaptive daydream. And this shook me. This like startled me for a second because I'm like, what? You're like, what? And then they said it again. Now, you know what? I said this on the Donna Rogers show, but I'm going to say it here too. And hopefully I can remember, because some of the things that I plan to say here, I was planning on coming live last week and I didn't get an opportunity to. I was on the Don Rogers March 4th Productions YouTube channel. So if you want to go check that out, definitely take a peek at it. It was a really great conversation. I will be back with him soon too. We're going to be doing episodes on Rick and Morty. If you guys are interested in any of the concepts behind Rick and Morty, definitely go give him a subscribe and a follow, because that's coming up. So anyway, there were things that I planned to say when I came out here, you know, and for instance, one of those was, let me see if I can get back to where I was at with it. Okay. Oh boy, am I even going to remember? So anyway, they said, yep, I was sitting there. They said the maladaptive daydream. And I was like, well, what the fuck does that even mean? I sat up and I'm like, okay, well, oh yeah, that's what it was. The telepathy. So when people are talking to me telepathically, because I'm a very telepathic person, and if you guys haven't watched the telepathy tapes at this point, you definitely should, because it absolutely confirmed and verified for me a lot of the world that I live in, a lot of my own world and how it works. They confirmed it for me. So we're definitely on the spectrum here. And telepathy is a real thing. And so, but when my guides talk to me, I explained this on the Don Rogers show, it's like a ball of energy hits me, and then it's my job to put the words on that ball of energy. I'm the one that has to choose, with this brain and this body's experiences, I have to choose which words feel and match that energy in order to understand it, like in order to hear it correctly, right? So I gave the example, like when one time I was sitting in my car outside my son's doctor's appointment, and my car almost was going to die. I didn't know this. Okay. I was sitting there. I had my car off, but I had my phone plugged in and on the charger. And suddenly my guy came and he threw this ball of energy at me, and it basically unrolled really quick. And it said, if you don't start your car right now, it's going to die. And I was like, holy shit. So I went to go start it, and it almost didn't. It almost didn't start. And so I had to drive it around for a little bit, and it was fine. So anyway, so my guy comes to me and he says, maladaptive daydream. And I'm like, oh, what? You know? And I sit up and I'm like, what did you say? And they said, what if it's all just a maladaptive daydream? I said, first of all, what the fuck is a maladaptive daydream? I've never even heard this term. I actually only heard the term, I noticed it on a song title. There was a song title. There was like this package of 4 songs that came through. And one of these songs, I liked all the other songs, but this one I honestly didn't really like that much. So I didn't really listen to it. So I'm like, but that's all spirit needs. They just need you to see. They need to flash you that word one time for them to be able to use it for you. So anyway, I'm like, well, what the fuck is a maladaptive daydream? So I get up, I sit up, I'm wide awake now, and I'm looking up what a maladaptive daydream is. And I'm just like, wow. I said, well, if I'm just maladaptively daydreaming, then maybe someone should inform my maladaptive daydreams that that's all they are, because they keep happening after I think them. Like, I daydream about stuff, you know, and it happens. Okay. But it not only included just daydreaming, which basically was saying like you're spending most of your time daydreaming to the point where it's hurting your life. You're not as creative. You lose your creativity. It can feel like a long story. It can involve music and movements and like a whole intricate system of movements and stuff like that. But it's just basically, it's all just a fucking maladaptive daydream. But maladaptive, think about that. So I guess someone could look from the outside, a neurotypical person could probably look from the outside and they could see my light weaving and they could hear my time traveling stories and they could hear about how music fits into all that. And if they don't know me, if they don't really know what the experiences are like, they could very easily, I'm sure, label it that. So we're here to talk about some of those maladaptive daydreams and how they came true. Because I'm like, oh no, like we've already been through this before. Like I've already been tested before. It was like Zeus, like I said, it was like Zeus himself came out and he threw some lightning bolts at my fucking tower. And I was like, nice try. Nice try. It's still there. My tower's still there. I opened the window up afterward. I looked around. Like I took the blue room that I had in the astral that I made and I moved it into the tower. And that's where I keep the things that I create in the astral spaces. Okay, that's where I've made this room and this space for me to go and do my work, which is trying to self-actualize as much as I can and then help as many people as I can with that, because we're all one being. If you have a God soul, if you're an immortal being, we're all one being. Like we're one. Yes, there's little intricacies in like twin flames and all that type of stuff. Yeah, yes, those types of things exist too. But ultimately, if you strip it down to its basic component, it's just source, it's love, it's light. We're one being. So here we go. I want to tell you guys, because that's what this really is. It's the law of assumption. Okay, that is really what I've been using. I did not think that it was that. You know what I'm saying? It took me a while to really accept that this is what I've been. That or what was it? The Thelema practices of, what was it? Do what thou wilt, love under will. Right? The things I mentioned in the last stream with the river song and stuff like that. Like we've just been doing like magical alchemical stuff for real. That's what I've been doing here. Like, okay, part of it includes daydream. There is a difference though between actively making a daydream, okay, and going into the astral spaces. Like there's different things. Like this mind is so much more powerful. This body is so much more powerful. Like this is biotech right here, And as far as like some of the things that stuck out to me too about this maladaptive daydreaming is like, because they did it to me once before too. They brought this term to me. It was called alien love bite. Because after I found out that it was a genetic equal, it has to be tested. Any belief that can't be tested is not a strong belief and deserves to fall, in my opinion, if that's the case. So I test myself. I'm very much a scientist when it comes to these types of things. Okay. So they had tested me once before with the alien love bite. And I thought there was a very cool, very interesting similarity between some of the things that could be used to identify what an alien love bite is and also along with a maladaptive daydreaming stuff. Okay. And one of those things was that you get less creative. Your life gets worse. You let things fall to the wayside. Like you don't take care of your responsibilities, things like that. Right. Well, anyone that looks at my life over the past 5 years or so, 8 really, since my daughter was born, no one could look at that and say I've gotten less creative. No one could look at that and say that I'm not doing the things I need to do. I've healed so much. I've come so far. You know what I'm saying? Like, am I at like 100% perfect end goal? Like, absolutely not. But like, my motto is to try to live the most in the moment. Like, I'm not always just sitting over here daydreaming and planning for what I want to see happen and what I want to happen. I have to actually live my life, and I do. So, but let's go over some of how I have used and noticed that the law of assumption absolutely does work. It is about changing what you think about. It's about changing what you put your focus and your intention on. Okay. Because thoughts plus feelings are what shape your outside reality. Thoughts plus feelings. So the stronger the emotion you have with the thought, the faster it'll happen, the bigger it will be. Okay. And let me tell you, anytime I've had huge emotions, I've been like, when it comes to me asking for manifestations and stuff like that, the bigger the emotion, the bigger the result. And so grateful for these experiences. So let's go over some of them though. So I have some examples, okay? Because it's not just good daydreams that come true for me and could come true for you too. It's not just good ones, it's also bad ones. I learned that the hard way. I'm going to give you some specifics in my example here. Okay, so first of all, I'll give you the good one. So, like, when I first started doing it and I first started noticing it, okay, it was like before I was getting ready to go to this ECETI conference. And, like, one of the things that I was, like, daydreaming out and imagining was hanging out with Ben Chastain and Corey Good. And I wanted Corey Good to compliment my hair. So I daydream about it, you know, and daydream about sitting down and hanging out with them and talking to them and all that type of stuff. And then I get there and sure enough, me and Ben, and like, we just were like, wow, I feel like we're soul family. Like, let's be friends. Let's connect here, you know? And during one of the presentations, Corey Good and him were sitting behind me, and Corey Good was all like, when he was still cool, you know, he was sitting behind me and he goes, oh, who's that girl? And he was like, oh, her, she's my friend Cassandra. And he was like, I really like her hair. You know, and after I was like, oh my God, yay, you know, and there were other things that came through, but we're not going to get into all those little things. I'm just trying to help you guys have a generalized example of what it looks like. Because if you don't even know what it looks like, how can you go out and do it yourself? And this is my gift to you all. This is my gift to try and help you. Like, I hate that this camera is moving around all over the place. I really do apologize. It has to be because of me, right? And this light. Please, cameraman. Chill. Can we chill, cameraman? Am I just gonna have to sit still? I'm very emotive when I talk. I can't sit still. Please, camera. Just chill. So what was it? So that was some of the good ones. Like, those were some of the good daydreams that ended up coming true. But what was the first bad one that I noticed? See, because as soon as I noticed the first one happened, I was like, okay, anytime I notice that I'm daydreaming about something that's a negative experience, I'm going to make sure I nip it in the bud and I don't go through with that or keep imagining it. Okay. Because, and here's just one little tidbit rule I want to throw out there real quick. If you're trying to use the law of assumption, never argue with people in your mind. Never daydream about arguing with people in your mind. You know, because it starts to create that. It's like you will pull that to you. You will open up the timeline for that to happen, because we are creator beings and we have power. We have real power here, you know? So one of the daydreams that I dreamed about was before I went to the Star Seed Adventure Conference, right? I was like daydreaming about hanging out with my friends, but I didn't really know people that well yet. And so I would daydream about talking about them in a way, saying something good about them, you know, to another person. And then, oops, oh, wow, look at that day over here. You know what I'm saying? And then there were even other times I would daydream. I'd be like, about the bad things too. Like, oh my God, how embarrassing would it be if this thing happened? You know, if I was saying this thing and then they heard and they were there and they heard me, you know, like, oh my God, that'd be so embarrassing. You know where I'm going with this already. So I get there and I sign up for this reading, and they asked for donations. And I did not, I don't know. It's very hard for me when people ask for donations, because I want to make sure that I give an amount that's appropriate for the services they're giving me. So I did not know what that amount should look like. And so I go into the bathroom, and my friend Amanda came in there with me, and I'm just going off in the stall, and I'm like, why are they doing this to me? Like, why can't they just tell me? Like, what do they want? Just be specific. Why has it got to be donations? I'm sitting there and I'm complaining, you know, and I get out of the bathroom stall, and Amanda, she says to me, you know, they were right here in the bathroom. They heard everything you just said, right? I'm like, oh, shit. They did. And I'm like, shit, this was exactly the daydream I had. This is exactly it. You know, like, that is the thing. And it's not like you have to sit there and do it nonstop all the time. Again, how much emotion you put into it is going to really be what affects this. Okay. Which honestly, just now coming to me, even talking to you guys about this, it makes a lot of sense now why it was so important as a creator being for me to get my heart turned back on and to come back to life. because not feeling anything as a human being, like, that's not the point. The point is not, these are feeling beings, these are feeling vessels. We're supposed to feel emotions and have that experience of that and how that expands our consciousness and our growth. So don't daydream about bad things if you're going to use the law of assumption. Now, the law of assumption it was written by this guy named Neville Goddard. You can look these stuff up. There's lots of people out there that like to teach about it, because the basic principle is we are all one being, and every person outside of you is just you trying to give you some information. It's you. If you're attracted to that information, if something in it sparks you, it's because it's meant for you. Okay? And so one of the first chains that I ended up breaking, we're going to be talking about the music stuff, okay? Because remember, we're going in at this point, and I've been tested now. Zeus threw his lightning bolt of maladaptive daydream, and so now I'm like, okay, well, let's go look at some of my music stuff that I'm talking about. Let's go look and see what exactly I mean by that, because there's always elements to the song that end up happening to me afterward, or they tell me, like, oh, this song is for me. But what started all of it? Oh, we'll get back to that one. I'll have to come back to that one. Okay, so anyway, I know the exact moment, actually. I can take you to the exact moment where I was able to break this chain and allow God to create with me a language through songs. Just like pulling tarot cards, you know what I'm saying? It's like the songs are the tarot cards in a way, but there's so much more than that even. The song that broke the first chain to allow this, and I'm giving this to you guys because I want others to break this chain and allow, if music sparks you in a way and you just love it so much, like, you can have God talk to you through music. You really, really can. The song was Can't Stop, which I posted at the beginning of the show. Can't Stop by Red Hot Chili Peppers. Okay. You know what? I'm going to pull up the lyrics just so I can see it. This was like right when, like, shortly after I was exposed to Corey Good's information, and I realized, and it hit me, and it was like, oh my God, this is the information I've been waiting for this whole time. I've been waiting to wake up. And now here it is, because I know that the stuff he is talking about is real stuff. And it's just, it blew my mind, and it felt like, okay, like I was learning how to meditate again, and so I was listening to the song, and I was actually out of town. I was on a camping trip with my family. Oh shit, sorry guys. Hold on. I was on a camping. Anyway, so let's go here. I was on this camping trip, and I was listening to this song. And one of the lyrics basically says, "The world I love, the tears." Let me get to it. I'm not gonna like fucking sing it, but I am gonna have to say it in order for you guys to understand. And I know it's cringe, guys. I know that I am cringe as fuck, but I don't care. I don't care. It's like, this is me, and if you don't like it, if you don't want to be cringe with me, then you're losing out, man. You're not having as fun as I am. I'm having a great time. Okay, so it said, "The world I love, the tears I drop, to be part of the wave, can't stop. Ever wonder if it's all for you." And when it said that, I really started thinking about it. Like the end of the song, even he's talking about when he's and then he was talking about the Pleiades, because remember I was like into the whole space stuff at the time, and he's like, coming from a space to teach you about the Pleiades. Can't stop the spirits when they need you. This life is more than just a read through. Like the whole song, I was listening to it now, and I was like, wow, this was like basically the first Hurt song. Like, this was really the first one, and it's the one that broke the chain. It broke the chain to where I thought, what if I was as important? What if I was that important that God would send me songs for me? What if that was true? Like, what if there was a song out there on the radio being played, and that was literally a song from God for me? I started contemplating this, and because I'd already had some experience with that. We all have, I think, at some point, where you hear a song and it's like, my God, it's just singing your absolute life in your heart, and it's like, it feels like that. Okay, well, we're going to take it next level, because I'm about to show you how these songs actually started telling me things about people and about experiences I was going to be having. So I only pulling out a few of them because, listen, I have a bunch of little things to talk to about, but it's like I can't go over all of them because, quite honestly, we would be here for days and days and days because there were so many. If I want to know what I've been living in my life, if I want to remember all the magical experiences that have happened to me one after another, all I have to do is look at my playlist and listen to the songs on the playlist. I listen and I'll be like, okay, yep, that one, that. So there's usually 3 elements that end up showing up now when a song is meant for me. Now I'm not, and here's the thing. Like, I'm not saying, oh my God, it's meant for me, and look how big and great I am, and everyone, look at, none of you guys are little or anything like I'm not. There is a way to feel inside of you that you are as important as you are without falling into false humility and being like, like trying to be like, oh no, like God is everything, but you are God. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if this is coming across exactly right, but it's like you don't win when you use humility wrong. We are that important. Like, we are God. We are literally, our conscious mind is what's holding all of this reality together. The collective conscience, like you deserve to feel good. You deserve to feel like you're that important. And you deserve, and it happens in a way, for me anyway, where it only made everyone else look just as important. It made me want to get to know the people that came into my life in a deeper way and see them with new eyes. And it was a beautiful, beautiful experience. So let's see. So Can't Stop was the song that broke the chain off me to believe that this was even possible. It broke that. And it wasn't just lyrics that would happen. The first thing that started happening was not just lyrics, but the videos too. Okay, there was this guy that I've talked to you guys about that I called The Artist. It was during the episode. It was The Artist and the Angel Hunter. Okay, and that was one of my first manifestations. When I basically said to the universe, I said, I would like to see this guy at least once. Like, his heart, he needed to have some love. He needed some kindness and compassion shown to him. Like, he opened up, he shared with me his pains, and it moved me so much. And I said, God, I said, if you could, like, if it's in the highest and best good for everyone involved, make the way clear for this man to come see me. Right? And the next day he ended up getting a phone call that he was going to be taking a job that was going to bring him to my city. Okay, well, around the same time, a song came through. This is one of the first heart songs that I had. And it wasn't just the song, though. It was the video. This video, I've listened to the song plenty of times. It was called Lips on You by Maroon 5. And when I looked it up, and I don't know if it'd even still be there anymore at this point, because there was a video that I'd never seen there, and it was like someone else made it. It wasn't even an official video, but it was the first one that popped up for me. And in the video, the guy looked and was dressed exactly like the guy that I had just asked to come and see me. Okay, he looked exactly like everything we had been talking about, right? And so I noticed that, like, okay, like that's very interesting. It was in connection with this manifestation that I did. But it got more intense, right? So let's skip forward, right? My heart is activated now. And this song came through. And now what I was doing at the time was these songs would come through. Mostly it was the Strokes coming through at first, right? And I would ask my guide, because he was hanging out all the time, so I figured I might as well ask him stuff. And so I would ask him to send me songs. I would say, okay, like, tell me about this person in a song. Tell me about that person in a song. And he would send me these songs. And the songs, and I would know, and you could tell that they're for you, okay, like a message for you, by how it makes me feel for me. It's like it gets me so excited in a way that isn't like normal excitement. It's like something like the energy around me is literally buzzing when it comes through. Okay, so another song that came through was for the SSP Golden Boy that I love to talk about, right? No, don't love to talk about him, but the first one of the first couple heart songs that really came through was for him, and it was a Doja Cat song. Okay, it was a Doja Cat song called Freaky. They told me to send this song to him. They were like, send this song to him. So anyway, let me tell you what that song said. Okay, let me tell you the match. Okay, So I'm listening to this song, and they're like, "This song is for him," and I'm like, "Okay, I'm listening." And at one point it says, "Daddy the Grandmaster." I was like, "Is he a Mason? Is he a Mason? Like, what's that about?" You know what I'm saying? And the way she was describing all these things, and I didn't get this stuff confirmed for a while. It took me a while to get it confirmed, but they had told me this song's for him. Send it to him. And basically, the song was exactly the type of woman that he wants. It even talks about making someone like, how about we flip the script and I'll be your slave this time, you know? And see, that's where the miscommunication started to happen with him with these songs, because songs are powerful. And I had sent this song to him, and I was like, "Here, this song is for you." And he took that to mean that that was me, that song was like, I'm saying I'm like this, right? Which like is like into whips and chains and violence and stuff during sex. So he thought I was saying that, which apparently he was into, but that wasn't, no, I was saying, no, no, no. This is you. This is you. When they give me songs for another person, that song's for you. Yeah, I dig the song. I love the song. But the song is about you, and I push it back. Okay. So that was just like, so now we got some of the elements coming in, right? Daddy the Grandmaster. Daddy likes whips and chains, wants to make someone his sex slave because he was, right? So, next one. Okay, then another one came through. Now, see, at that time, I thought all the Doja Cat songs that were coming through were about him at that point, because it's not the first time that they've done that to me, where it's like a certain artist will start coming through over and over and over again for me, and it will click, and the elements will line up with that person. So I'm like, okay, so I thought this, but apparently that's not true. There are exceptions to every rule. So Doja Cat songs were not just for him, but I got a little confused because then another Doja Cat song came through after the first Journey to Truth conference, and it was called Vegas by Doja Cat. And it opens with Playa getting valeted around in that hoe whip. It opens with that. And it just so happens that after the Journey to Truth conference, my birthday was shortly after that, and I was hanging out with a new person, and they pulled up to where I was at to hang out with me, and they get out of the car and they say, "Hey, you like my hoe whip?" I'm like, who says that anymore? I'm like, okay, but I'd already been listening to the song. Okay, but again, I thought it was for the SSP Golden Boy. So this guy says, I'm getting, you like my hoe whip. And that's what she opens with, right? And she talks about wearing a corset in the song. That's happened to be what I wore for my birthday that year, was a corset. And, but I still, again, I was like, I don't know though, because it was basically saying that the guy was a fraud. Basically saying that the guy was nothing but a hound dog, that he was up to no good kind of thing. And Spirit had kind of said something similar at the Journey to Truth conference about this guy. But I didn't want to believe it, because that's the thing. God gives me these messages, and a lot of time I don't believe it. I push it away. Just like when my guide told me, "Oh yeah, it's not going to be him that activates you. It's going to be this other guy, and here's what's going to happen, blah, 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 blah." I'm like, you're out of your fucking mind. Why would it be them? Why? I don't believe you. So I'm like kind of in disbelief, because I'm like, no, I thought it was for SSP Golden Boy. But the guy is this new guy I'm hanging out with. He's the one saying the words. He's saying I'm on my birthday, I'm wearing a corset. He's talking about his hoe whip. But she goes on. I said, okay, you know what? I said, if either one of these guys ever goes to Abu Dhabi, I will know this song is for that person. Which one of them? Okay. So up until then, I just took it to mean about both of them. Well, guess where one of those people went this year? I still wonder if he ever even has listened to that song. I told him that this song was about him, for him. I don't even know if he's ever listened to it. But yeah, he went to Abu Dhabi. So I was like, oh wow, okay. Even though it was years later now, eventually that third element did come through, because I like to have at least three. Three elements to me kind of knocks me out of the park there, and I'm like, okay, I can believe it. If there's three very specific synchronicities, I can believe that is either the manifestation or the heart song or the message from God. I'm going to believe it. So we did that song. I mean, don't even make me get into the Melting song by Warpaint again. I've talked about this one because this was one of the most beautiful synchronicities when it came to song messages. And it was this song called Melting. And it was talking about that day I had been looking on Facebook and scrolling, and there was this coat. It was this red coat. And I loved it. And it was so beautiful. And I thought, wow, but it said it was a raincoat. And I was like, what? And so I really took my time and I was like examining it and like clicked on the site and everything. Like, this is not a raincoat. I even screenshotted it. Okay. I even screenshot it. And then later on that day, I come across this song called Melting by Warpaint. And it basically starts with take off your raincoat. Okay. Now that might be nothing to anyone if it was just that one thing, especially like it's like I don't think about these words and suddenly I think about these words, something about this word sticks out to me, and then boom, it appears in a song. Well, not just that, my son David had a dream. He come and told me about this dream where basically an eagle caught fire and turned into a phoenix and it flew into my house. And in the song, she basically sings about how there's a phoenix fire burning in my house. That's what the song says. And that was basically the dream my son David had and came and gave it to me. Because sometimes God likes to give me messages through my son's dreams too. So I mean there was more to it. There was more, but we'll just go over those little ones. But here's one of the newer ones that I really, really love this one because this one connects to my new boyfriend. That all the songs seem to be about now. So that's fun. I like that. But anyway, the song is called Death. I think I brought this up. Death before by Melanie Martinez. And it's basically the singer who her persona before was this one called Crybaby. And basically they killed the Crybaby and they resurrected her as a like lionfish fairy being. Okay. And it also had like she did this pose in it where it looked like the 10 of swords, but I stopped and I counted it and it was 9 swords and I was being haunted by 9 swords at that time. So I was sitting there and I'm listening to the song and I'm pretty sure I sent it to my boyfriend at the time. And like I'd shared it with him at some, maybe not then actually. I shared it after because he said the thing that so she says, they're saying my name in their prayers again. I flicker the light so they understand. I won't say goodbye. I'm right by your side. That type of stuff. So he tells me that day, he says, just, I want you to know that I've added you and more of your family to my morning prayers. I was like, oh, okay. And then he's like, it's really weird. The lights just started flickering above me. Oh, that is very interesting. So he tells me he's saying the prayers again. And the lights start flickering above them. Right? Oh, thank you, Jason. I've like briefly caught one comment here. Thank you. That helps. It really helps. Because, yeah, I've got a lot of them. I've got a lot of them. So at that point, I knew the message. See, I'm not going to go over the entire message because it gets more deeply personal, right? Like, if you want to listen to these songs, you can go ahead and listen to them. And these songs are my life. It's singing you my life, how I felt, what I was feeling at that moment, and I really did feel that way. It was like, no, I'm not going anywhere. Like, I'm here with you now. And that was the other thing, is that I was trying to telepathically talk to him. I was trying to send him some energy. And, but there was this like barrier around him. It was like, he was like upset. Okay. And when people get upset and they're not in a good energetic place, it really does. It creates this like, almost like a filter you can't seem to really push through. And so in the song, she talks about that. She says, I tried to talk, the barrier is too strong. And when you're not around, I sink into the ground, basically. I don't want to live without you at this point. Like this is what the song was about. This is what I'm thinking. And then I have these synchronicities. So I listen, I pay attention. We are going to get into another one. And it's basically the whole suddenly see more. You know what I'm saying? Like that is coming up, but let's get into that when I get into the part about what's been going on here since January and such. Let's keep going though. Okay. Oh yeah, there was another one. That's right. At one point, I was listening to these. Oh God, I really want a cigarette super bad, guys. I was listening to these subliminals by Dr. Virtual Seven. I don't know if you guys have ever followed this guy's channel or not, but he does a lot of really good subliminals. And so for the second Journey to Truth conference, I had made a playlist, and every day was literally a 6-hour playlist. And I was trying to put, because I made these creation spreads, right? And I would put these certain elements in the creation spreads, and I would focus my intention on what I want to the energies that I want to bring right to the conference, which is like healing and growth and alignment. Like my main mission, like helping people align with their timelines, their timelines of highest love and joy. That's what I'm here to try and help people with. And how could I do that if I don't get in alignment with mine first? So anyway, I'm listening to these subliminals every single night. And I get to the Journey to Truth conference that year, the second one. And there was this girl there, and she's talking to me. And she just like dumped all of her problems of what was happening, like this issue she was having. She just felt the need to just lay it all on me. And I didn't mind that at all. But the problem is I didn't have any advice. I didn't know what to even say to her. And I could see her pain. And I felt so bad. And I didn't even know what, like, we were going to hang out and talk again because I forget, we had something that was in common. And I forget what it was that brought us. Oh, we were going to have a dance party because I was talking about dancing. And she was talking about how she wanted to bring her speaker box out to the dance party. Well, the last night, and I was kind of avoiding her a little bit because I didn't know what to say to her, and it hurt me that I didn't have anything that I could really tell her. And so I was like, God, like, help me. I don't know, like, give me the message, what, you know? And the last night, she whips out a speaker box. She turns on the song, and the song was the first subliminal that I had on my playlist. It was the first subliminal. Somehow we matched up. And so because she did that, I was able to finally figure out a way to work in and help her, because clearly if she believes in subliminals, then she can use the law of assumptions. So I was going to help her get in line with that, even though I don't even know if that's what I knew what it was. I just was calling it manifestation. You know what I'm saying? So trying to help her. So that's another one of the songs. Okay. So, yes. Now here's another thing though, that I don't know for sure about. That this is why I keep doing these things. The dancing. You know, I don't know if it's necessary or not. I guess it would be necessary only if I really believed it was necessary, honestly. But the first time I ever seen real magic happen with listening to music and doing movements was literally magic in tarot. And I've talked about this to you guys before. I've mentioned it, I'm sure, plenty of times. And it was with the song Under the Cover of Darkness by The Strokes, which, you know, is my favorite band. And I literally saw, I halved the card decks. Let's just repeat it again, right? I might as well. For anyone who hasn't been here before, welcome to my page here. Welcome to these stories. You're going to hear a lot of them on repeat, but it's in order to get it to sink in, guys. These things are possible. You can do it too. So I had cut the tarot deck in half, and I looked at each card, and this song came on randomly on my playlist. And so I was listening to it, and I was like getting ready to shuffle, but I was just so into the song that I was like moving around and stuff. And I go and I look back, and the card had changed. Yeah, the card had changed. There was a 4 of Swords that was on this one, and there was an Ace of Cups on this one. And the 4 of Swords was gone, and now the 2 of Cups was there. So the 2 of Cups and the Ace of Cups. And I was like, holy shit, what was that? I was literally shaking, because when you see things that you can't explain naturally, okay, it scares you. Your body doesn't know of the difference. Like it abides by a certain laws of physics. And when that is broken, the body freaks out, right? So I'm like, holy shit, what the fuck just happened? And I'm like, where did the 4 of Swords go? I still have them in my hands, and I put the decks down, and I'm like, looking, like, where the fuck is the 4 of Swords? And the 4 of Swords had hopped from one deck to the other half of the deck, and it went behind the Ace of Cups. And I was just like, what the fuck does this mean? Right? Like, what the fuck does all this mean? And that was before my heart activation and stuff. So I kind of figured out what it meant now, you know what I'm saying? Which was, we are going to be forming a real collective. like a real one, like the blue flames coming back to life. Like that is, I don't know if you guys have seen this girl, her name like Mspiracy or something like that. She's on my Facebook pages, my pinned thing. She does all these she's like spamming my stuff all the time lately in my feeds now. And she talks about the flames and how we were here to bring back the flame codes. Like we are bringing back the divine template of the blue flame, the blue flame Melchizedek's. We are back and we are correcting what they have corrupted. Okay. And so I really think that was and it was basically saying, like, I'm going to wait for you to get it right. Right. Oh, that was after the heart activation. Okay. Either way, it was telling me what that was about, because I'm sure at the time for me, that's what it felt like it was about. Like, what really happened? Did this really happen? I don't even fucking know. Boom. Okay. Let's go to the next one, though. So I don't know, though. Was the movement necessary? I don't know. But at this point, I wasn't about to take the chance. If I was going to repeat the experiment, I was going to have to do things exactly the same way. Because if I was really impacting the world in these ways that it felt like I was, then it should be repeatable. Okay. And I realize now, too, that the part that gets hard when it's doing this is that you have to have the emotions that energetically align with what you're asking for. It's like if you don't, you're just pushing against a wall. If you're saying something out there, but you don't have the emotional and belief that it's possible to back it up, it won't. And that's why it's so important to work on breaking the chains of your own disbelief that these things aren't possible, because they absolutely are. Because I'm here in front of you and this stuff happened to me, and I'm telling you that this stuff happened to me and it was real. Okay. And so the next one I tried was with, I don't even remember what song it was at this point, but I know that I was focusing on doing an energetic scan, because I was doing classes, and I was going to school, and I was trying to become an energy healer, so to speak. A galactic shaman class was what it was, a school thing for. And so I was trying to practice it. And so I was scanning one of my girlfriends. Okay. And I was using the song. I used the song to stir up the emotions, and I started doing the movements. Okay. And I just visualized her, and I'm like doing the movements, and like I could see, like I could feel the energy of the Kundalini, and I could feel like there was something wrong over on this side of her. So I started like really focusing on like weaving God's light through that part, and getting that energy to flow back up the right way. And so I let her know afterward, and it totally got confirmed. The next day, she said, it just so happened, just by coincidence, just by chance, she had a doctor's appointment, an eye doctor appointment. And so they looked at her, and they looked at her eye, and they said, you almost have a detached retina here going on, and you're going to need to have surgery for it, basically. And she was like, what? And he was like, but it's okay, because the good news is that you can tell that you already had some surgery done, because you see these marks on the scan or whatever. Those marks wouldn't be there. That's healing from surgery that you already had. And she's like, I never had any surgery, though. I never had any surgery. But I had just been doing energetic work on her the day before that, and trying to fix that energy part right there. But again, is it the movement and the music, or just my intentions, or all three? I'm not sure. I'm still experimenting. I'm still doing this. Okay. Lastly, okay. I talked about this one before. One of my girlfriends that went to the January 6th, the J6 event, right? And she had done this Facebook Live, and she was very scared about the energy of the place. She felt like it was a trap. It was a setup. And so I put my work in that day, and I got up, and I focused my heart and my intentions and my dancing on forming a huge energetic dome bubble over the entire thing. I thought of this example actually even in Harry Potter, where they go to defend the school. At the end, all the teachers, they come out, and they create this barrier above the school in order to protect them from Voldemort. And that was the idea. That was my intention. That was my thought that I put out there. And it got confirmed by her later on that for her specifically, that's her favorite scene in all of the series. That was her favorite scene. And she literally started crying when I told her this stuff. And I'm like, not only that, but I wanted the sunshine to shine on Trump during his speech, right? And so I was praying. I'd gotten the dome up and I was praying God, like I was doing, actually, no, I was doing more movements again. I was like trying to part the clouds, part the clouds. And it just so happened at the same time that I was doing that, this friend of mine got pulled into a prayer circle to part the clouds so that the sun could shine on Trump. And it worked. And it happened. You know, not just that, but this is when I started to realize that, wait a second, this isn't exactly just a daydream. Because if it was just a daydream, why the fuck am I seeing this guy with bullhorns? Because I was getting a little tired, honestly. I was getting a little tired. I was all day I worked on this and I'm trying to protect them because I care and I love people. I want to protect the people that are my soul family, most of all. And I felt like she was. So where are they going with that? So I saw this guy as I was doing this. I was like, you know what? I'm getting really tired. So I was like imagining asking my guides to come in. Someone else, can you take over for me? And this guy pops up into my mind in my astral space. And he's like, I could do it. And he was wearing these bullhorns and he had like this fur thing on, but he was like a centaur. He was only a man from the waist up. The bottom half of him was a horse. He was acting like a centaur. He was bucking around like that. When I was like, I don't really know if I trust you. I don't really like your energy. I was like, let me give you a salt bath. And I gave him a salt bath and he started being, he was doing this horse sounds and everything like that. And I was like, yeah, you know what, guy? I was like, I don't really want your help. I was like, I don't really like your energy. I don't want your help. Find out later on, see this guy that was in my freaking daydream, my astral experience, see him on fucking TV. So how do you tell the difference? How do you tell the difference anymore at this point? Because for a long time, like I said, I thought it was just daydreaming. I thought, you know what? Remember when I was telling you guys about my divine masculine template, seeing my daughter with her father, and I told God, don't worry. You know what? I'll love me and I can be there for me. Right? Like I can do that by using the things I know already about belief, about how the brain works, about how the brain can't tell the difference between what you daydream about and what you actually experience. It can't tell the difference. So I'm like, I'm going to give myself the best experience then. And I'm going to start daydreaming about everything that I want to feel and see and happen. And then it all started happening. So I'm like, what the fuck? Okay. So let's go on though, right? Oh, there was one more. Yeah, there was one more music one that I daydreamed about where, okay, there was this band that I love, all right, that I like, okay, but they were a small band and they aren't together anymore. And so one day I was going over. I'd only really heard one album of theirs too. I looked. That's the thing. I looked for other songs. I searched YouTube, whatever. I never could find anything else, so I left it at that because I don't know. For me, I always feel like it's not meant for me at the time if I don't find it. Because I've had other situations where that same type of thing has happened where I would go and I'd search for something and I can't find it. And then the next time I mention it or whatever, someone else would be like, oh, here it is. Here, look, I found them right away. Like looking for someone on Facebook, you know, I'm like, I've looked for them for years. And they're like, oh, this person, oh yeah, here they are. And I know it's because it wasn't the right timing yet. You have to wait for the right time as well. So one of the requests, the manifestation requests that I had made, you know, did I even get into that one? Hold on one second. That's right, the Z one. I didn't get into that one. But one of the manifestation requests that I had asked for, because I was doing inventory, I was like, okay, well, I did this one and we got these results. We did this one and we got these results. And one of the ones that I had put out was that I wanted to travel back in time and video record this band that I loved that I wasn't going to see play live ever because they aren't together anymore. I was going to videotape them and I was going to find a way to get it onto YouTube or some way to get it to me on the internet, right? And so I would imagine it, you know, I imagine like what it would look like and everything like that. And, but you know, this is how you do it. This is how it works. You daydream about it, you put a little emotion into it, and then you forget about it. And you wait to see what happens. You just hold it like in a special place, I guess, in your heart or something. So anyway, I was going over the inventory. I'm like, all these things that happened. That's really cool. And I'm like, oh, wow, that one didn't happen. And so I was talking to my guide because if you remember from what I told you the last time, guys, like, or if you watched the Don Rogers show I went to, like the thing that really started this off for me was after I got activated, they told me the way to ignite the heart of the blue fairy is by making all of her dreams come true first, right? And so I was like, oh, I was talking to my guide and I was like, well, we did all these things, but you didn't do this one. And I was like, oh, it's a fine. I was like, I suppose you can't do all of them. It's all right. You've done all the other things, so it's okay. The next day, within 24 hours, because that's how it happens for me usually. If I ask the right thing in the right way, within 24 hours, I'm talking to one of my girlfriends and I'm telling her, we're talking about music, and I'm telling her about this band. And I was like, yeah, I really like this band. And, here's this song. I gave her one of the songs that I liked. And I said, I feel like this song is for me, and she comes back. I was like, and I was telling her, it's really, sad. I'll never get to see them play live, and I was really hoping that I would be able to, but that will never happen, and she comes back just like when I was like, I can't find this person, and someone else found the person immediately. She comes back and she sends me a fucking video, and here's a video of someone recording the band exactly as I envisioned it. Now, here's another thing. Here's another theory. You know what I'm saying? Because I have a lot of theories. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to figure it out. Like, is it that, so was it that I actually time traveled and went back there somehow or like in consciousness and influenced someone to make that recording and to make sure that they got posted up on YouTube? You know what I'm saying? Like, was it that? You know what I'm saying? Or was it me just being super psychic and tapping in to the fact that had actually happened already and like seeing it? Like, am I just super psychic or am I just super manifestor? Like, what one is it? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm like trying to figure it out. But at that point, I'm like breaking down in tears. The floodgates have opened. I'm crying listening to this song. I'm like, and the song literally, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? It was so meaningful to me. It was so meaningful to me because the very first thing that they had asked me, the song basically opened with, I'll always follow you, basically. Okay. And that is what they asked me to do. Okay. And the song talks about dreams and how, I had a dream and I was invisible. I read the words and you'd sing like, and I'm like, I'm all about the dreams. And yes, that's what I'm imagining. I'm like, and that's what I'm wondering. Am I invisible when I go back? If I'm doing these things, if I'm a real time traveler and this is really happening, and I'm getting all these confirmations, is that what's happening? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, and I'm at the time I'm crying. I'm like, but I already said the other song was for me. Like, oh, how can this song be for me? I said the other one was for me. And I'm like, but this song means so. And he's like, do you want to take the chance or are you going to go sing it? You're going to download it, which is what I do. Download the song, basically, to be part of my repertoire, part of my energy that I can use. Okay, so it felt like, wow, God must really love me to be doing all these things for me. Like, how is this even possible? One thing after another. It's like, when something comes to you at just the right time and it just hits you. And I'm just like, wow, like, my life is truly miraculous and I'm so grateful for it. So anyway, are we going to go into the Saints now? So as I've been telling you guys about my main guy, my guide, the guy who was talking to me over here for so long, he claimed to be this other person I already know from the future. And I told them I didn't believe them, right? And they said, what will it take for you to believe me? And I said, hundreds of synchronicities, right? And so then they started rolling the synchronicities out. So I can't get into all of them because there's too fucking many of them. But I'm going to get to my favorite ones because I always save the best for last. And so I'm going to tell you the favorite ones that I have now. Okay. So one of the first synchronicities that I had, okay, was I was in my house one day and I'd taken my glasses off and I put it on my bed and I went to go and do something and I accidentally almost sat on my glasses and literally I dropped to my knees, like holding them, thinking like I broke them. And it was like, oh no, you know how it is. You know how it is when you like something like that happens, like God, and it's, you're just feeling that. Hope you guys can, just from that, the sounds and stuff, feel that with me. So I'm like, holy shit, I almost broke my glasses. And I'm very, very careful with my glasses. I still have not had an experience like this since then, knock on wood somewhere. Because I definitely never wanted my glasses to break. But I almost break my glasses. And so that day there just happens to be a live stream going on from this person who my guide claims to be, right? And they open their stream with, guys, you're not gonna believe what happened. I broke my glasses today. And they literally go on to describe exactly how I felt when that almost happened to me. And so I'm like, what the fuck? You know? And I'm like saying to my God, I'm like, what the fuck? You broke your glasses. And he's like, yes, but I didn't break yours. I didn't break yours though. I'm like, true. Thank you for not breaking my glasses. I was like, okay, cool. All right. So again, I'm having conversations all the time with God, with my guides. And I had kept hearing about the back rooms, right? Now, this is what I love about experiments like this, okay? Because I had no front loading on what the back rooms was at all. No front loading on it. I only had my own ideas of what the back rooms could be. So I asked my guide, I said, what is this back room stuff about? I said, could you make us a space, like an example of what, I said, make it a castle. I didn't know what it was going to be like. And so then I go into the astral space, my meditative space, and we're there in this castle, and it was very creepy. It felt very creepy. There was like no people there. And I was like, where are all the people? And they're like, I don't know, and I'm like, okay. And so we were talking in this place, and I asked, and I told you guys this story before. I asked about what my nickname would be. And they told me my nickname would be Allura, because I'm alluring, is what they said. They said Allura because you're alluring. And I said, oh, wow, I really like that. That's a great nickname. I was happy, And I was like, you know what, though? I don't like this place. Let's get the fuck out of here. So after I go, and this is why you guys need to do stuff like this too. You really just do an experiment like this. You hear about a place or a concept, you don't know what it's like. Ask God, ask your guide to help you. Go into a meditative space. See, go there first. It's almost like remote viewing, like confirming remote viewing in a way. This is kind of how you would have to do it. All right. So anyway, I'm happy with this experience. I say, let's leave here. I don't want to come back to this creepy castle, because it's basically a creepy castle. So my guide is basically encouraging me at the time. He's like, you need to share this with them. Share it with them. I said, I was like, you know how terrifying it is for me though to speak up. Like at this point, I was just grateful. I felt like I was just grateful to be allowed to have my feelings as they were, and the fact that I shared them so openly. You know what I'm saying? Like I was just happy. It's like, here's the gift. I got a gift from you. Here's your gift back. Like I don't want to tell them these things. I'm like, what if I'm just making all this up? What if I'm just crazy? It's like hundreds of synchronicities. I've got hundreds of synchronicities, but yeah, I still doubt, because I'm a fucking doubter. I don't even know why. I have a hard time believing these things until it's like they've laid it on me thick, And so I said, fine. I told my guide, fine. I will write them, and I will tell them this experience. I will start telling them the crazy experiences I'm having. And I said, and if they respond and anything lines up, I'll believe you. You know what I'm saying? I'll believe you then. So I write this letter. I write this message. I send it. And I basically described the whole situation I just told you guys, like the whole little thing. And I left out the detail, though, about the nickname, obviously. And they write me back. And they basically said that they thought I was a past life wife, and that they called me alluring. Alluring. This is what they call me. Of all things to write, of all the words they could have used to describe, they say that one. So I'm like, shit. Like shit. Am I really not just daydreaming? Am I really not just am I I thought it was what? And so again, I still didn't believe though. I still didn't believe, because I'm like, I can't. I'm like, I just have to be super psychic. It's got to be what it is, right? I just got to be super fucking psychic. I don't know. So we keep going. So now here's the big one. And this one, I don't know about this one, but it was the funniest one, I thought. So I have to share it because it was the funniest fucking one because this guy is fucking hilarious. So I was sitting there and outside in my backyard and I was doing my meditations or whatever. And he comes to me and he says to me, he's like, I can tell like they're in like a giggly mood even. And they say something to me and they said, you have to go on Facebook. I'm going to give you a code phrase basically. And you need to go on Facebook and make a post using this code phrase because it's going to be hilarious. That's what they were telling me. And I'm like, okay. I said, okay. What's the code phrase? And they say it to me. And it was fucking hilarious. And I was like, that is really, really funny. I'm like, but I cannot make a Facebook post using that code phrase. I absolutely cannot. And now he's like, you're going to ruin it. Like, you're going to ruin the plans then. You're not going to do it? And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm like laughing my ass off. I'm like, I am not. And all day I'm like laughing about this fucking code phrase. And later on, that evening, I'm on Facebook and I'm scrolling. And here comes a post from this person. And in the post, they use the code phrase. And this isn't something that people use on a regular basis. It's like, okay, who wants to know the code phrase? I'm willing to tell it. Who wants to know the code phrase? It might be, I don't know. It might be, because it's not something that people say all the time, is the thing. So now my mind is like thoroughly blown. You want another code phrase? The code phrase was SSP circle jerk. Why are humans so disgusting? This word, this phrase, this circle jerk. Like, who the fuck comes up with these things, guys? And I can recall the only time I've ever heard this phrase before was when I was way younger, and I can remember it was like my stepbrother and stepdad, they would make jokes about that word. And I didn't even and they had to tell me what it was. I was like, that is absolutely disgusting. I hadn't thought about this word in fucking ages. And now this word, my guide comes and he's like, here, do this code phrase thing on Facebook. It's going to be hilarious. And then later on, I see them make a post and it's literally, they use that phrase. Yeah. I'm like, what the fuck? But it was hilarious though. It was funny. It was really, really funny. And at that point, when that happened, I was like, fuck it. I'm making a YouTube channel and I'm telling everyone all these crazy things that are happening to me because I can't hold it back anymore. I've had hundreds of synchronicities at this point, and I am going to tell people that this kind of stuff is real and you need to be aware that this type of stuff is real. And if you want to experience the type of wonders that I am talking about, then you need to get with the program, come on, get down with the sickness, right? Anyway. So, yeah, that pretty much convinced me. So that and the whole, maladaptive daydreaming thing. So I was pretty much already convinced at that point. But we got other parts of this story to get to. Because I do want to get to the story about the part about the princess and the frog. Because I'm going to give you guys a great example of when I use a story like this and how it actually lines up with my actual life. Because the story of the princess and the frog, listen, I shared it the other night with my boyfriend, exactly how I was going to come out here and do this. And he was blown away. And I'm very happy and grateful for that. So, but let's get into, I put on here on my promo, basically, we're going to talk about the wicked stepmother. Okay. Because there was some music magic involved with this bitch too. Okay. This woman, she basically didn't have anyone in her life that she didn't pay for things for, right? I think, and I remember telling you guys about this, right? I'm trying to, for people who have already been here, I'm trying to remind them. If not, I apologize if you aren't going to be able to follow. I'll do my best to tell it in a way to where you don't really need to know the back stuff. But so there was this woman, and she basically offered to pay me to try and help her manifest the man that she was in love with back into her life in a way to, like, end up getting married and everything like that. And I didn't see any way to do that. And so I just prayed to God and I said, if there's any way for me to do that, like, bring me the information that I would need in order to know how to do that. And the next day, within 24 hours, she brings me the law of assumption. She brought me the law of assumption, and basically where it was saying, like, you could have any timeline you want, because any and all timelines exist. Every choice exists. And what you want to see and experience, all you have to do to get to that is to focus on the end, right? And then allow God to show you the bridge of unfoldment, and he'll walk you step by step to that. Okay, so and she gave me lots of good examples of it and everything like that. But for me, something just fell off about it, because I didn't feel like I could. First of all, I didn't have the belief in myself to do that. And you have to believe in yourself. You have to have the belief, just like when I finally broke that chain of belief with the song Can't Stop, right? And it was like, what if it all was for me? That is what made it possible for all these songs to come through like this for me. I know it is. I can feel it with all my being. If you want to have a musical relationship with God, you have to break that chain. Whatever you're asking for, you have to break the chain that you don't believe you can have it, or you don't believe you deserve it, or since you can't understand, so you can't imagine how it could actually happen, therefore why bother doing it at all, right? Okay, well, the ultimate goal that I was trying to imagine and that I was asking God for was an outcome better than I could imagine. That was my thing. That was how I used it and put a little bit of my own spin on it. Because like I had already done with the Course in Miracles, I didn't trust that I knew that one of the lessons they teach is you do not know your own best interest. Since I do not know my own best interest, then I keep giving it back to God. God, show me what that is then. Show me what is best for me. Show me what you think and feel, about people. I want to feel those things too. Show me what I am. Show me who I am. Show me what I'm meant to be. And so this is how I was starting to use the law of assumption. I'd already been using. I didn't know that's what we were doing. Okay. But I could not do this for her. And so me and her, we still remained friends for quite a while, but then there came this opportunity where she was getting ready to have a second conference. And she had told me a long time ago that I would be a speaker at this conference. I didn't even really mind if I was going to be a speaker or not. I just wanted to be there, even as a volunteer, because I had volunteered at the first one. So she calls me one night and she starts going off about some people that I love very, very deeply. And like both of these people, she's just going off and stuff and talking all this shit. And for me, in the past, that had happened. And I didn't have the courage to stand up and say, hey, actually, no, I didn't have that courage to defend them in that moment. And I regretted that. I really, really regretted that, because I was like they did so much for me. You see, I honor what they have been for me. I honor what they've given me. I respect it. I value it, and so I hope the best for it because of that. And so this woman had talked shit for a good hour about two people that I love so much. And me and her started arguing because I did have the courage to speak up. And I basically told her, if I was them, I would feel the exact same way that they behaved and the way they felt about her actions. And this, I don't think she's ever had someone tell her opposite of that, because think about it, she pays for everyone. So when you give money in a relationship like that to everyone, it kind of stops people from being, it's like, what is that? Like abuse of power in some way, I'm feeling like. I don't know. I can't think of the word I'm looking for right now. But anyway, so no one could ever really tell her the truth, right? And at this point, I was like, I'll be damned if I let her sit here and talk mad shit like this about the people that I love and have done so much for me and not speak up and not say anything. And so I did. And it pissed her off. And it put my going to this conference in jeopardy because she was like, she basically accused me at that moment of being a threat to this person's marriage. She told me that she wasn't going to let me come to this conference because I was telling her basically, I'm like, don't you understand? And I'm like, I've told you what they did for me. I was like, I've told you what they meant. So why would you think I would be on your side when it comes to this? And she was like, I think you're a threat. I think you're just trying to go after and steal that man away. And I won't allow it because she's my best friend. They're my best friends, she said. And at that point, I kind of lost my shit. And I was just like, you know what? I said, well then. Said, I guess, because I put two and two together, I realized, oh, the reason she thinks I'm like this is because this is what she would do. This is her projection. I had already been down that test. I had already been down that road and been tested like that when I found the law of assumption and they said, yeah, I could do anything I want with that. And I was like, no, I don't want to do anything that my body wants to do with that. I want to do what my spirit wants to do with that, which is to give me an outcome and a life that aligns me with my timeline of highest love and joy, with an outcome better than I could imagine, right? And so I said to this woman, I said, wow, considering you just talked shit about these people for an hour, now you're their best friend. And I was like, well, I guess, I said, if I was going to do something like what you're accusing me of, I said, basically what you wanted me to do for you, I told her, I said, if I was going to do something like that, I said, I guess they'd only have you to thank, their best friend, and they could thank you for it. And she's like, oh, what? And I'm like, she's like, you know what? I think we need to get off the phone. I think we need to take a break and come back tomorrow and talk about this. And I'm just like, yeah, I think so. Because I was like furious. And so I get off the phone and I'm just like, and she's like, now I don't even know for sure if I'm going to be going to this conference or not. And I was getting ready that night. I was getting ready to do my first interview on someone else's fucking channel. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me, this bitch? And I'm like so mad. I'm like, okay, well, let's look. So because if something, that's kind of one of my rules. If someone accuses me of something like that, then I'd like to see if there's any truth to it. You know what I'm saying? Because again, if you can't be tested, then how will you ever stand the storm when it comes? So I already been tested, so we're going to test it. So I go into my daydream process. Okay, let's imagine the outcome that she accused me of, right? Immediately it was like, and they showed me a spreadsheet. It was like timelines. Okay, it looked like it looked like a capillary, honestly. It looked like capillaries in the blood. So it's like you're starting here, right? Like your starting goal, and then it fans out. Like there's all these timelines going forward. And so they showed me, and they were like, the timeline that she's talking about was like way over here. And I'd already made so many decisions because everything exists, right? I'd already made so many decisions at that point that wasn't the timeline I was on. And I was like, oh, because the guys, they already told me that wasn't the outcome. They already told me you and this person are not compatible in that way. So why would I plan for an outcome that they'd already told me what? That was the whole reason I did the first manifestation, my keystone manifestation. That was the whole thing. So anyway, but people don't think that. People don't know that little detailed part of it, and so it doesn't make sense to them because they're just coming at it from a normal human perspective, which I wasn't at the time because I'm a soul braid walk-in, okay? And I just didn't understand at the time. I just didn't understand. I do understand more now, but at the time I was like, I don't even understand why she would ever even accuse me of this. So we come back to the table the next day because now I'm kind of pissed too because thoughts are seeds. Things you say to people are seeds. It's willpower that leads the way. Okay, so when people are, I feel like this is my best way of explaining it, like people who are, let's say, living in the same timeline here, right? But now they both have this ideal of what the outcome is supposed to be. And so it's like a battle of wills, right? And I'm just like, damn it. Sorry, hold on, I got an itch, guys, because of the sweat. So I'm like, fuck, now I planted this fucking seed in her. So I'm like, I'm going to have to bring some really heavy truths if I'm going to have any hopes of her letting me come to this conference at this point. So she was the first person that I opened up and I started talking about the first Keystone manifestation. But I couldn't say it exactly. So I just said to her, the next day when she called, I said, okay, listen. I said, you know how I do all these things, these heart wishes, and I can manifest these things, and you've seen it, and it's like big stuff. And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, the first one I did was for them. I said, they told me, okay, that this is what I asked. How could I best support the mission, right? How could I best support this person? And they said, this is what this person needs. I said, and so I told God, I asked God to send that person to them. I said, I asked that they be like me. I had to say that because I didn't think this bitch for 1 second could handle the concept of, oh, I'm going to split a piece of my consciousness and all, like, split, which basically is just your soul. It's like, I don't feel like it should be that hard to even understand. Like, you're sharing a piece of your soul with each other. It's soul braiding in a way. It's like every infant that comes in this world, that's how we all start. We are all, the body comes alive and because it's got a soul braided into it. And sometimes those souls leave and then a new one has to come in. So anyway, I told her, I was like, listen, it's like, here's the heavy truths. I said, the first wish was for them and it happened. I said, I couldn't believe it. It blew my mind. I said, that is why I've gotten this far and doing all these other things. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, because she's exactly what I looked like. She's exactly what I imagined to look like. I'm like, she's all these different things. All these confirmations are coming through. I said, so let me tell you. I told her, do you remember when I used to post these certain kinds of memes, way back when? And she was like, yeah. And I'm like, the only reason I would even post those memes, those type of memes, which is the type of work she does, okay? It's the type of the work that this woman does, the wife does. I would only post the type of memes with the work that she does because I thought it would give them more to talk about. And I wanted to be helpful. I said, and lastly, I know you hear me talk about my feelings and about what happened and how important it was to me and everything like that. I said, but we aren't even close. I said, they don't care about me at the time. I said, they don't care about me at all. I said, and I'm okay with that. I said, they don't even say goodbye to me when they leave. I was like, they don't care about me. I said, they tolerate me at best. And I did get a little angry at her during some of it. And I told her, I was like, finally, I said, because she was like, but you're this beautiful blue-haired woman. And don't you think that would be tempting to come and throw these feelings at them and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, I did it so I could have everything open and so I wouldn't feel like I was being ashamed and having to hide my feelings about this stuff. I said, I gave it to them because I even thought maybe, I said, for one, I'm assuming that they're both reading it, whatever I'm sending. And she told me, no, they don't. No, that's not it. They're not close like that. I said, are you fucking kidding me? She said, no, that everything that I imagined that their relationship would be like, she said that I was wrong. She said they did not share those things together. And I was just like, she got me back the same way that I said to her, like, well, if I did that, they'd only have you to thank. And she got me back because now she told me I was wrong. And now I started thinking maybe I was wrong. Maybe there is some, like, I thought they'd share everything. I said, don't you think for 1 second, if I was going to manifest and this would be my first wish, I said, don't you think I would want to support that? Why does that never occur to people? They come around me. If I talk about it, they feel my feelings and they think there's only one outcome I fucking want. And I'm so fucking pissed. Wait, wasn't maladaptive daydreaming supposed to help me lose my creativity? Wasn't I supposed to be less creative? Like, fuck, people, get more creative. I've already done that outcome before. Cassandra has already done that outcome before. That is not the outcome that I wanted. And so I told her, I said, I'm like, you're crazy, woman. Like, you're crazy. I said, and do you really think for 1 second that God would let me rewrite my divine masculine template with a man that would so easily stray? I'm like, do you really think that about him? Do you really think these bad things about him? I'm like, he's never been inappropriate. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, and as a side note, something I didn't say to her at the time, but I've told you guys before, it's like, because I'm super telepathic, is it the autism? Is it my Draco reptilian hybrid, human hybrid, soul braid? I don't know. It doesn't really matter to me, quite honestly, because I'm trying to live a human life. You know what I'm saying? And I know I have these gifts. So, like, when I told you guys I can go to people's minds and they behave differently, and people will behave in the way I connect with them, they will behave like that outside. That's the first thing I started to notice. And a lot of times, most men are pretty average when it comes to me popping in there, especially if I make myself known. And like, a lot of times I'll go there and I want to know what people think about me. So I'll just go and I'll just throw my name in there and see what comes up. What do they think? What do they say? And I've confirmed it. I've confirmed it before that this is how it is. But most men are how any man would act when a woman comes into his mind, right? The fantasy stuff starts to begin. That wasn't like that here. Why do you think I liked coming back so much? Why do you think I liked hanging out so much? Because this person thinks so differently, and their mind is different. Their mind is just different, and it was the most fun I ever had. You know what I'm saying? Like, make a fucking Facebook post. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is fucking crazy. And it was hilarious, and it was fun, and I was having a great time, and I didn't care about any of the other things that I told her about the fact that, they don't even say goodbye to me. They don't even care about me. And finally she was convinced. These heavy truths were enough. And she said, okay, you can go. But of course, at that point, I was fucking fucked up in the head. And all I could do was think about the fact that she told me I was wrong about what I thought their relationship was like. You know what I'm saying? Because I was like, why would I want to rewrite my template? Like, let me explain that better now, too. Let me explain what I mean by that better. And I think I did a little bit already. Like, I was not going to be able to attract a man who would treat me right, or like have a soft heart, be caring, not that humans are perfect. They're not. They're going to have their shadow aspects, obviously. You know what I'm saying? They're going to. But the love I saw, the true love that I saw, that was what I was wanting to base my template on, so that way I could have hopes of attracting that myself one day. And like I said, it worked, because before then I never attracted a guy that was as nice to me as my current boyfriend. Never. Like, it worked. I can see the similarities. I can see for me, because again, when that template is being written as a child, it's not just based on that parent's actions. It's based on the perception the child has. Based on the perception that what the child takes away from it. And so that's why I worked so hard on just letting myself feel in love with life and God and myself, and not caring what anyone else thought or felt, And so now she lets me go, and she tells me, I got all those things wrong, and all I can do is think about it. I can't write this speech. I can only focus on what the experience thing that just happened between me and this woman. And so I asked my guide, give me a song for her. Did I fix the mistake or not? Like, did I undo the seed that I planted in her or not, by being a fucking smartass and having to have that last word with her that night beforehand? And they sent me the song Dark Horse by Katy Perry. Okay, now I've talked about this one before too, guys. The perfect storm. I was able to create the perfect storm, manifest the perfect storm, because again, it's not just lyrics. Okay, it's videos. So when I watched the video, and it was basically these two women going head to head, this one woman was basically all about plastic and like big gaudy shiny items, and like it was like a plastic diamond. That was what I'm seeing. And like a bunch of other, like, she was like requiring these men to come up and give her these offerings, and then she would like kill the men and just take the object. And then at the end, another version of her comes out. Okay, a blonde-haired version, which I have blonde hair and she has brown hair. So, and in the video, Katy Perry does, right? So obviously I'm relating to the blonde-haired girl. And she comes out on top of this pyramid and she's like, I'm going to create this perfect storm, right? And so that's what I did. I just kept doing the dancing, listening to the song, and creating the storm because I was using the energy of how I was pissed at her into this. And then on top of it, I added another song to it because songs are spells, guys. They're spells you put in their energy. You can call it manifestation. You can call it energy. You can call it spell work. You can call it anything you want, but it's all basically the same thing. And so I started putting the energy of the song called Great Days by JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And basically I tried to overlay the top of the energy that this woman had been bringing, okay, through the energy of the song Dark Horse and what she was thinking. It's just saying this is what she's thinking. So I overlay it, and I get to this event. And I'm not expecting anything. You know what I'm saying? I'm just happy to be there. I did my best to write what little bit that I could to try and do a little quick speech at the end of I think it was like the end of the last day or something like that. And I get there and I open my phone and I get a text from these people. And they're like, are you ready? Are you ready to hang out? And I remember at the time, like, I literally threw my phone at the couch and I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, I'm saying to my guy, I'm like, you do realize that I just told her we never talk. Like, you do real, like, what, and now we're going to hang out. And I just told it, like, that was the only reason she let me come is because I told her all these things. I was like, what the fuck you think I am? You think I'm just some crazy, like, aggressive woman? Like, I'm not going to do anything. Why would I do something like that? It's not who I am. Yeah. They made a liar out of me. They made a liar out of me at that point, and I would never been more happy to feel that way because there's just no way that she didn't think I was lying about there's no way she didn't think I was lying just to get there. And at that point, and then the perfect storm did happen. Literally, like a cloud, like a cartoon, a cloud right over top of the hotel that we were staying in. You know? So, I mean, I've seen, and again, I go back to wondering, like, hey, what is it? The combination of all the things? Is it just my thoughts and feelings? Is it the dancing? Is it the movements too? Like, how is all this happening? I'm just so curious. All right, sorry. Oh, I do see you guys. I'm sorry that I'm ignoring the chat right now. I so appreciate you all being here. I've been like waiting to get all this stuff out for so long. So I'm just like, yeah, we're busting through and I'm just having to ignore the chat a little bit. It was a tough situation, Victor. I appreciate you hearing me out on this one. So that's one of the ones that I've been talking about for a long time, right? All right, so the template was rewritten. Now we're going to get into the newer stuff because I'm excited about that. Okay, so the template was rewritten, right? You know what, guys? I am going to smoke a cigarette on camera. Hold on. Because it's been a while now and I'm ready to smoke a cigarette. So we're going to smoke and talk about this part. Oh my God. Actually, let's pause and do a little transition before we get into this part. Let's talk about the community tea that I didn't get to talk about at the beginning. Let's talk about Michael Salla and Elena Danaan. If anyone here has seen what I'm talking about with the post that Michael Salla made, because if you guys don't know this or not, I'll tell you, I guess. I don't even know why I just bring it up like that, but I did a whole episode once on Elena Danaan and how I basically thought that some of the things that she was saying didn't add up. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I just brought some criticisms to the table for examination. And somehow she heard about it because her next episode that she did was basically bashing pretty tarot readers who pull fortune cookies. Speaking of, So she kept talking about pretty tarot readers who pull fortune cookies. You know, I don't even need a fortune cookie. I'm doing the worst accent. I don't even need a fortune cookie. Is it even, what accent is it? I don't need one to tell the future. I don't even need tarot cards to tell the future. So get out of here, pretty tarot readers who pull fortune cookies. Like, oh, she's not talking about me. She's not talking about me. SSP Golden Boy tried to tell me she wasn't talking about me. I don't believe for 1 second. Like, that's way too specific. But anyway, I didn't really care. It doesn't really bother me or anything at this point. But apparently Michael Salla wrote a post. Yeah, I'm figuring out the 6. That's right. It's getting, well, you know, I'm a smoker. And I just think back to when my friend Robert Johnston, when he was still alive, and him doing his YouTube channel, and he would bring out cigarettes, and I would be like, oh, wow, that is so cool. I thought he was so cool. I don't know. God rest his soul. So apparently, I'll just put it out there, Michael Salla is no longer, he's calling out Elena Danaan and her cult, you know, because now she's gone after him. They've gone after him. Okay. It's like, so now that they've gone after him, he's going to go ahead and put his foot down. But before, when she was going after all these other people for years and years and years, well, it was fine then. But no, now that it happened to him, it's not okay, right? I did leave a comment on his post about it because I was like, dude, you are just as fake. What the fuck are you talking? Oh, now? When she's like, you know how many friends of mine I've watched her blackball, basically? Like, all the work they ever did together, took it off of her channel, so would no longer even associate with them or anything like that. Like, this woman is a bully. This woman is a big bully. And it really makes me sick that these people keep being allowed to be the heads of the community, and they're leading these mass groups of people when they're so corrupted. Because I'm sorry, I don't care how much of her information is real and accurate at this point. How you treat people outside of what you do matters. And so at this point, anyone who is close to her is suspect. I don't believe it. I don't trust it. So yeah, so fuck them. Anyway, which cookie should we do? This one? What's this? Left or right? Probably going to be reversed for you. Left or right? Left or right? I'm waiting for Victor. Oh, Brayden pulled for right. Okay. Oh, and Victor chose left. Sorry. Brayden wins. So this is the pretty tarot reader who pulls fortune cookies here to tell you a fun little message from God through the fortune cookie. Let's see what the collective needs to hear. Okay, this is the collective fortune cookie message. Yeah, I did it. Collective fortune cookie message. Okay, yeah. But I had to put a little energy into it. Okay. Let's see. Nice. Embrace the unknown. It's where your future flourishes. That is true. A little bit of intention and watch God go to work. You know, anything is possible. Anything is possible through God. Okay. All right. So now I want to tell you guys about what started to happen when my template was finally rewritten, which happened in December. December was when it was like, boom, I felt it. It was done. I did like a ceremonial passing of the hat. Okay. Because I'd finally had the validation and the information inside myself to know that it was confirmed that yes, this was possible. I did this thing. And so now, because how could I ever ask for something or think that how could I ever make a request to God for something that I didn't really believe was possible to happen? Right? If I didn't really believe it was possible, then there is no way for that to happen, because the first chain you have to break is the chain of disbelief, which is what they program us all with. Okay? So I do believe it is possible to do the things that I've said that we could do. And so at this point, I was basically saying, okay, then if I did this thing, then it's time for you to do the same back. Give me the same back. That's really all I'm asking for, right? And that was when everything changed. So December, it was all done. And then January, I started noticing that I started feeling differently towards this guy that I was dating and seeing at the time. Okay. And I started noticing, and I've talked to you guys about the pair bonding thing, right? Like they told me they gave me that experience a long time ago where they pairing, and I had this most wonderful experience connecting intimately with a man, like for me, for the first time, because I'm a soul bride walk-in, and so this was like the first real experience I had, and it was so beautiful, but every time I've tried after that, right, shitty, terrible for the most part, you know what I'm saying, unless it was an alignment. It was very rare. It was like there was usually never any spark there. Like, I didn't know what to do about it. It was quite, because I'm like, again, even when I asked for my genetic equal, I thought there's got to be a few of those. There's got to be a few of them. And when I found the information, it was like, oh no, there's only one. And I'm like, well, where the fuck is that? Where does that leave me? And I'm like, well, I guess I don't have to be with a genetic equal then, right? Even then, I still didn't believe that I would just be alone forever. You know what I'm saying? I already knew eventually I would figure out what it was exactly that I need, because that's what I was doing. I was trying to take my time as my template was being rewritten to figure out what exactly I needed for someone to be compatible with me. All right. And so I started noticing first, what changed first was I started thinking about, like, they were giving me ideals to think about. They're like, what if he was ever to do the things he does with you with another woman? I'd never been a jealous woman before this. Never really had an issue with it. You know what I'm saying? As Aurora, the soul bride walk-in, right? Okay, Cassandra, I can remember in the past, she's definitely experienced jealousy before. And that's how I could recognize it, because that was labeled correctly in the body already. And so there was like, I was just like, the feelings that came alive in me, I was like, oh shit. I was just like, oh shit, he can never do those things with a woman like that ever again. I was like, he can never do that. I'm like, oh my God, I have to tell him this. It's like, remember, I just got a hold. I was like, oh my God, guy. I was like, I can't stand the ideal of it. Like, I think I want to be more serious, I think I want this to be like a committed relationship. Like, I can't handle it, like suddenly it's like that. And that's what I've been waiting for, right? That's what I've been waiting, those feelings to come naturally. It had to be natural. I couldn't be forced like all the other guys want me to do, pretend till it was real. I don't fake it till you make it. That didn't work for me. So suddenly I was feeling these ways. And it was good, but it was also bad, because who wants to feel jealous? And I fucking hate it. I hate feeling jealous. And Facebook is a shit starter. It's like suddenly it was like they were showing me every single post that he reacts to. And I was like, oh no. I was like, I can't handle this guy. I'm like, I can't handle seeing these heart reacts and all these other women's posts and stuff like that when it's their selfies or whatever. Like, I don't care if it's regular stuff, but I'm like, something inside me was like, no, just no, this can't happen anymore. And the thing was, is his name always showed up really first all the other times, and I don't know why it started bothering me so much right now. But I was like, something has changed in me. Something is different. I don't know. I think I love this guy. I think I actually love this guy. And then all the Muse songs started coming forward, right? Remember, you guys, when the Muse songs came out? I belong to you, and he was even talking in French and stuff like that. And what the French translated to was, my heart opens to the sound of your voice. And I already told you guys, the death song was already for him. The death song was already like he's adding my name to his prayers again. The light started flickering above him. Okay, so, and it was basically saying, like, I don't want to be without you. Okay, well, the Muse songs, if you remember, they said the heart opening to the sound of the voice. And they also said, I travel half around the world to tell you I travel around the world to tell you that you are my muse, basically. And so I was listening to him talk at one point one day, and he said something, and suddenly I literally felt my heart do something. It did this thing. I felt it, and I was like, "Oh my god, wait, is that my heart opening to the sound of his voice?" I'm like, "Oh my god." I'm like, "Oh my god." I'm like, the Muse songs were for me and him. This, and because I have to wait until I figure it out. The synchronicities always come. Just like play again later on in that whole whip for Vegas. Like the synchronicities always come. So yes, all the Muse songs were for him, and I was like, okay, I really like this. But at the same time, it's like changing is not easy. And what happens when a child grows up? Like I told you guys, we had been preparing this vessel for the child that was born at the Starseed Adventure Conference, the first one, when all of this stuff started for me. Because I'd had a dream about being energetically pregnant, basically, and I felt that baby come out of me at the Starseed. I mean, you guys will have to go back and catch up on that one. I'm not going all into that story again. But so we told you guys, like, it's time. It was her time. It's her time. It's my time because now I'm in here and I'm grown up, right? So they told me that that our story was The Princess and the Frog. So now I'm going to tell you guys what that's all about. But I just want to say thank you to everyone that is still watching or hanging out, because I know this is a long one, but I just want to dump it all out. I want to be done with it at this point. I mean, this part is the fun part. I wanted to dump the other stuff out at this point because I've been talking about it for so long that I was going to come out and I was going to say it and I was going to talk about it, and I didn't. But now I am. And now we're finishing it. And now we're getting to the happy ending part. So the princess, and thank you, Victor. So the princess and the frog, right? So the princess and the frog is a Disney movie I never watched. And in this movie, there's a prince, right? And he gets turned into a frog by a voodoo witch doctor. Okay. Now, not only is there that, but the princess part story, she's basically this woman in New Orleans that grew up in a loving family where her and her dad had this dream to open up a restaurant. Right? So her dream was to open up this restaurant. Eventually, her father passes away, but she still holds that dream and she's working really hard towards saving up enough money to make this dream happen. And when she finally gets to this point where it seems like all is hopeless, she decides to wish upon a star. And she had heard this story, The Princess and the Frog, or the Frog Prince. She had heard that story before. And so this frog comes up to her and basically says, like, I can make your wish come true. I can make you a princess, or I could basically I can help you with your dream and getting that restaurant, because if you kiss me, I'll change back into a prince and we'll be able to get married, because she was dressed like a princess, because that's what his parents wanted. His parents had cut him off financially, and they wanted him to settle down and get married with a princess, and then they would allow his money to come back. So for him, he was trying to find a way to just get his parents to help fund his fun-loving life at that point. And so he goes and he kisses the princess. She agrees, and they kiss. And instead of changing him back into a human, it changes her into a frog. So when I watched this movie, I knew right off the bat, I was like, okay, so you're trying to change me? I'm like, you're going to change me? Like, what? Like, I like who I am. I don't want to change. What are you talking about? But it was too late at that point. By the time they even told me that was our story, it was too late. I had already been changed, and the first thing she starts to notice is she's like, oh my God, I'm a frog and I'm all wet and moist and mucusy and I don't like it. It's like fucking body fluids, guys. Oh my God. Fucking body fluids. So they decide to go on this adventure together, these two frogs, and they're going to go seek out this wise woman ask her what they need in order to become human again. And this wise woman basically, she looks at both of them, and the first person she addresses is the frog prince. Okay. And she says to him, basically, I see what you want. You want money. You want to live that easy lifestyle, play around with the girls and all that type of stuff. And she's like, but you know what? Where did that ever get you before? Money doesn't got no heart. Money doesn't got no soul. She was like, let me open your eyes up to something different. And she spins the frog prince around and shows him the girl frog. And she says, like, you see? Like, and she's over there and she's singing and she's dancing and she's having a good time. And his eyes start to light up and he starts to kind of get the ideal. This is where feelings start to spark for him. All right. And so then she goes to the frog girl. Okay. And she says to her, you're a tough case. I can tell. She's like, because you are your father's daughter. And basically he kind of set the bar a little bit high. And so what you really need is blue skies and sunshine. And she takes that message and she's like, okay, I get what you're saying. You're saying I need to even work even harder to accomplish finishing my dream, which for me, okay, that restaurant that she wants to build and start up, for me, if you want to compare it to what I'm doing here, is that's my tower we're talking about. My dream was finishing to build my tower of my beliefs. Okay. So they go on and they realize that, okay, well, the only way I'm ever going to be able to turn human again is if the frog prince actually finds a princess to kiss and change him back into a prince. And so there is one, and it's the frog girl's friend. Okay. And so they go and they make it all the way to the end of the movie. Let's just go ahead and skip forward. Oh no, actually there's one more little part. So he starts to realize he has feelings for her, right? And he's like, I'm going to go after her. I want to make her mine. He makes this little pearl ring that he has. He's about to propose to her, and they're on this riverboat, and they see the restaurant building that she wants to start her business in. And when she sees it, she starts talking about it, and it just makes her absolutely light up. And the frog prince hears this, and he decides, you know what? I don't want to be selfish. He wanted to just stay frogs and be frogs with her. He's like, I don't want to be selfish, though. I see how she lights up when she talks about this dream, and I want to help her with that. So he comes up with this idea, and he basically tells her, how about we go and we'll do this, and I'll kiss that princess, and when I get that money, I will help you finish building your dream. I will help you finish. And she's so moved, and she's like, okay, yes, like, thank you, like that, this is going to be so great. And so we get to the end of the movie, and the frog prince goes to the princess and tells her, like, I do want you to kiss me, but I want to do this more, not just for me, but I want to do it for your friend Tatiana, because that's the name of the frog princess, right? I want to do this for Tatiana. If we do this and you change me back into a human, both of us, and then my parents can give us money, I'm going to use that money and I'm going to give some of it to her to help her start her business, the restaurant that she's always dreamt of. And it just so happens that the frog princess, Tatiana, is listening behind the scenes. She overhears him saying this to her friend. And it moves her so much. And she realizes, but wait a second, like, my world wouldn't be the same without you in it. Like, I want you to be a part of my world too. So they both recognize that they have these feelings for each other. And the friend of hers is like so moved and so touched. She was like, listen, I'll kiss you anyway. You don't even have to marry me. I'll kiss you. I don't need to become a princess and be rich like this. I just want to help my friend. And so she goes to kiss him, and it's too late at that point. Like, the time had passed. It's too late. So the frogs, they basically have to accept and learn to live together as frogs. And at that point, they're actually okay with it. They're like, okay, like, we have these feelings for each other. All we need is blue skies and sunshine, right? In order to be happy. And eventually they end up getting married in the bayou. And when they kiss, it turns them back into humans. Okay. And so that was the happy ending, right? Okay, well, now let me compare it to my real life so you can see it. Okay. So this is how it lines up with my real life. This is how when spirit tells me, hey, this is your story, here's how it lines up. This is what I mean by that. Okay, well, when me and my boyfriend first got together and we're talking, when we weren't serious a couple or anything like that yet, he was actually talking to another woman at the time. I didn't care. Like, I wasn't in that place yet, and this woman had an offer for him. The offer was if she was engaged to him and they were engaged to be married, then her parents had an inheritance for her that would only be given to her if she was engaged to be married. And so he had agreed to do this, and he had told me this, and he said, okay, you know what, I am going to do this, but you know what, I'll do it so that way I can help you too. And he was like, I'm going to help you too. I'm going to help you with your dreams and supporting you. Right? Like, but which did he choose? Did he choose the money? Did he choose to go through with that? Or did he choose love and to just be happy with the frog princess? I mean, the story matches. It lines up. It made sense to me after I heard it. I mean, this is what Spirit told me. They said, this is your guys' story. And I looked at the elements of the story and I realized, wow, it really does click. Because that's what exactly the Frog Prince was doing too. He's like, I need money. I want money. And I'm going to have to marry this person to do it. But he really believed in her dream. This is the thing. And that was what I noticed about, and what really moved me the most is I realized he was the first person to ever really believe in me and my dream and my world. I mean, to the point where I could tell him a dream, and this brings us full circle, right? Where I could tell him a dream that I had that was an inappropriate dream, right? Let's just say. And his first thought was, but your dreams come true. How many other people really hold on and believe in me like that? And I realized like my world wouldn't be the same without him. So at that point I started, the feelings started growing exponentially and I fell in love. And, I had that really bad incident. Remember when the song came through? Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready for the shift? Right? And so I said to, he came in the hospital room and I told you guys, I was like beat up. I was beat the fuck up. I was so swollen. It looked like I had literally gotten in a fight. And I had no makeup on. And he comes in the room and he was like, wow, like what happened to you? I could tell he was like upset about it. And that was when they said, suddenly Seymour. Okay. I'm like, oh my God, is this my Suddenly Seymour? Is he my Suddenly Seymour? Because I always loved the song. Okay. And basically the song, it opens with, like take off your makeup, wipe off that mascara. You don't have to wear any makeup at all. You don't have to pretend anymore. And that's literally one of the things that my boyfriend had been telling me, like he had recognized after I was able to like open up about it. Like I've always had to pretend. Well, I have always had to do what everyone else wants to do. I've never gotten to do what I want. I never gotten to, it's always been about everyone else. And he basically was like, I don't want you to have to pretend. I don't want you to have to perform. And so here they're like, he's your Suddenly Seymour. And I realized too, even like, wow, he even kind of looks like it. Like he's got the same type of frame as Rick Moranis' character. And I always thought the Rick Moranis character was really cute. So I was like, I was happy with that. I'm like, wow, this guy is my Suddenly Seymour. Okay, get it? Seymour. Seymour. Suddenly Seymour. I suddenly saw more. And it was what's even crazier about how it lined up was, I told you guys that my tongue, for some reason, from having been throwing up that long of a period, when I got home, my tongue was starting to, it was like tensing up and it was like literally trying to get me to swallow it. And And I had a lisp, just like the girl who sings the song has a lisp. I was like, wow, okay, this is really lining up here, you know? And she talks about basically, or she sings like she's coming to the song basically takes her to the conclusion. Like, wow, she keeps saying, Seymour's my friend, Seymour's my friend. And at the end, she says, Seymour's my man. Right. And then they embrace and they kiss. Oh, sorry I didn't get to pull the cards for you yet, Jason. I know it's a long one. You know what? I will, after I pull the cards or whatever, I'll timestamp it and I will send that to you because I feel like I know part of the reason that people come here is for that. And I'm really sorry that it's just I haven't been back in so many months at this point, and I want to get this all over with and done. And so I can go on to the new things that I have to talk about. This is like the old stuff. We're switching over to the new stuff. So thank you for coming, Jason. Okay. So that's why we have the thing Suddenly Seymour. And so then I was basically saying to my guide, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, wow, is this like really happening? And then my guide said, because remember, that was the deal. Are you ready? How could I ask for something I didn't believe was possible? It took me all the way up until December of this last year to really fully put into effect that, okay, I did do this thing. I did all these things to prove to myself that this stuff is real and this is possible. And so therefore, if I'm going to have a match, an energetic match, then we're going to have to do the same thing that I did, right? For me, because that's how I'm looking at the world. That's how I'm looking at lining this all up. And so I said to my guide, you know, like my guide said to me, basically said, look at his name. And I was like, what? You know, I'm like, what is so special about his name? Like, what are you talking about? And so I look at his name. And just like with Suddenly Seymour, get it? It's like when things have like more than one meaning, when you can say it and it has more than one meaning, like being a peacekeeper. You know, that's one of my friends. She uses that one. Being a peacekeeper. You know, you're keeping pieces, or are you helping to create peace, right? So Suddenly Seymour. So now I'm looking at his names, and names are important. You know how special and important names are and what they mean to me, because that's what it's about. It's about what things mean to you. And I looked at his name and I was like, he's a Braden. He's a Braid. And you know, that's not even his birthday. Yeah, wasn't even his birthday. He's a braid in. And I was like, oh my God, you braided him in? I'm like, we're braiding him in. That's what we're doing. We're going to braid him into the collective. And he's like, it's already done. That's what my guide told me. It's already done. He was like, aren't the signs all there? He said, stop. Think about the signs. And so I stopped and I thought about the signs. Misa. No. The signs. Okay. So here's some of the things that I had asked for. Remember, I told you guys I manifested even a man that had the astrological placements that I wanted. Right. I'd picked out a sun and a rising, and I said Mystery Moon. I'd manifested that before, but I wanted to let God choose the person at this point. I was like, God, only you are going to know. I made a mistake before because I thought I could, you know, and what I'd asked for too. Like it wasn't. I fumbled it. I fumbled it up. Okay, and so we looked at the signs, right? And the signs were, first of all, the name. Second of all, I noticed that about myself. Okay, and you won't know this unless you've read the Game of Thrones book. Okay, because this doesn't happen in the show. But I basically said to my guide, like, you know what? I basically need someone like a Khal Drogo, and how when Khal Drogo and the Khaleesi first get together, the first night that they spend together, you know, you think, because in the show it just shows like, oh, he just was, all he ever said was the word no, and he forced her into the bed, right? That's not what happened in the book. Their culture or whatever, it was all about making sure the woman was like ready and it wasn't forced in this particular case, in this marriage case. And it talks about how basically he had to massage her entire body for as long as it took to get her to relax and consent, basically. You know what I'm saying? Be willing. And it did happen. And I was just like, and I noticed for my own self, I have so much stress and I have so much PTSD in this body that the only way that I'm like the only person compatible with me, I'm going to need a man that actually is willing to put that time and effort into it. And I'm like, what man is really going to be willing to do that? Again, I'm thinking like, oh my God, like this body has so many requirements. How am I ever going to get them all met? You know? And then this guy comes along and he's like, I'm really good at deep tissue massage. Do you mind if I rub you? I have to keep my hands doing something at all times. I need to be moving them. And I was like, and then he started massaging me and literally forcing the trauma out of my body through massage, literally healing me every time, like piecing me back together, you know? And so the other signs were, well, I said, I noticed, you know, for this particular vessel, you know, I'm like, you know what, Gemini men, people talk a lot of shit about Geminis, but honestly, I said, the best men that I've ever had in my life have been Gemini men. That those are the ones that have treated me the best, you know? So yeah. And I was like, but you know, we're going to need heavy Taurus placements too, you know, heavy Taurus placements, because again, like I said, I'm going to need someone who's really good with their hands and who's willing to put the time, work, and effort in. So what do? I go and I look at his chart. Wow, look at that. A fucking Taurus stellium. You know, it's like that meme where it's like, what was it that what is that guy's name? He's the wrestler, the wrestling guy, where it shows 4 different boxes and he's like, oh, explosion. You know, it's like the sleeping with no TV on. It would be like, oh, you know, and then like sleeping with no TV on and the rain sounds. And it's like, oh, is it getting more excited? Oh, sleeping with the TV on, rain sounds, and like something else. And it'll be like, mind explodes, right? Okay. I'm like looking at this chart and I'm like, holy shit. Like, that makes a lot of sense now. So I'd ask for that, right? I did say, I said, I need a man with bad eyes. I said, because I am a little bit insecure about my age at this point, and I need a man who, when he takes his fucking glasses off, I still look young. Yeah. Vince McMahon. Yes, that is it. That is it. You got it, Victor. You got it. That's so funny. And so lastly, lastly, the one that really stood out the most was this one. How did I feel about a man when he cries? Because that's really what kicked all this off for me. You know, that's what really started me on this journey. Was I heard someone's story. I heard this man's story, and he talked about how he cried during this most moving experience he had, and the woman in his life didn't even care. And that emotion in me was so powerful and so strong. It is what helped me change my reality and what I saw on the outside of me after that. What I was thinking, my thoughts, plus my feelings, like that was what started it. That's what kicked this all off. Was my heart was moved by that story so much. But since then, every man I've ever been around, they don't cry, or they pretend to cry. And when they do, it just was repulsive to me. It literally would repulse me. It felt like, because the energy was so, it wasn't sincere, it was manipulative. Vince McMahon, you got it. Vince McMahon, I can't say that. Yeah, it's Vince. You're fine, Victor. So that's what was going to tell me. Honestly, that was like the biggest final sign for me, was how I felt, because it was all going to be about how I felt, what it felt right. Was when he cries, when he has something, like he actually, first of all, allows himself to be open and moved enough to cry. And then when he does, I want to run to him. And I want to take care of him, and I want to comfort him, and I want to tell him it's going to be okay and everything's going to be all right and make it better. Again, that's what got us here. You know, that is what got me here, was that initial feeling, that initial desire. Wow, I think that we've almost completed all of it. I want to thank everyone for sticking around that has. I know not many people are, but like those that have, thank you so much for this. Okay, so my Brayden. Yeah. Very happy. I mean, it's not perfect. Don't get me wrong. Even with the beautiful love story, like I have given us. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't mean people are perfect. It doesn't mean that there's never going to be ups and downs. Like, there's still the human experience to be had, but there's also so much more to feel. Like, there's these deeper ways that you can feel and experience life, and the wonder and the awe and the connectedness, the interconnectedness of it all. Okay, yeah, I hear it. I hear it. So this is what I've been saying with my other stories. I'm going to give a quick briefing of what I have been fucking saying with my other stories, because this is what I've been trying to say with these other stories. When I told you guys last time I was here that I get it now. I could finally see all the pieces of of myself that I shared. Okay, because the stories that you're drawn and attracted to are the stories that tell you about you. They tell you about who you are and what you're here to do. That is how you find them out. And I'm not saying that there aren't, okay, like, here's the thing. Like, it's not like I'm sitting here and I'm going to tell you guys all the things that I got wrong, because I'm not going to say that I never got anything wrong. I did. It's like God dumped all the puzzle pieces before me, and I had to figure out how they fit together. Don't think for 1 second that I didn't put those puzzle pieces together wrong sometimes. I absolutely did. Why do you think it took me so long to come out here and say all this? Because I didn't have that info that I felt like I needed to be like, okay, this is it. This is what's fucking happening. So this is what I've been saying with my stories about who I am. We'll just go with the River Song one first. We'll start with that one since that was my last one. So what was I saying with the River Song one? I was saying that I would be Melody Pond. Okay? Melody Pond is best friends with her parents. Okay, she ends up bringing her parents together even. And you know what's really funny? I thought was really funny. How she does it is the fact that because Amy and Roy are just friends at first, and she says to Amy basically, you ever notice how Roy never has any girls around him? And Amy's like, yeah, that's because he's gay. And Rory hears this and he's like, what the fuck? I'm not gay. What are you talking about? And then boom, they get together. She got her parents together, right? That'd be really funny, if there was an element to their story that was like that, Maybe I'm even saying this because I already know there is. Just an element, But anyway, so what am I saying? I would be Melody Pond, but when this body dies, it regenerates and it becomes River Song. River Song was that beautiful, curly-haired, half Time Lord, basically half human, because she got created in the time vortex, right? And she's the doctor's bespoke psychopath. That's what he calls her, and he loves her, and they spend beautiful years together. River Song is already there. I am River Song, but I'm not River Song, because if you have to stop and think about it, if my intention was to travel back in time and be reborn and have a life experience that would make me most compatible with this person whose story had moved my heart so much, okay, then I would literally be watching a future life right in front of me. I would literally be watching that. Okay? Oh, I do remember. I forgot to say that part about the Liz Lori thing. Yeah. But anyway, so I'd be watching that. Just like in the Doctor Who thing, like Melody dies, she regenerates, she becomes River Song. River Song ends up marrying that version, the curly haired one, ends up marrying the Doctor. And then eventually they end up with their 24 years on Darillium with the Singing Towers. Okay. So that's what I was saying with the River Song thing. Like, yeah, future wife life that I'm literally watching. If this is true, that's the thing. If this is possible, and I've got a lot of confirmations to the point where I believe it is. I've seen enough synchronicities. So what was I saying with the other ones? I talked about the OA before. That was one of my most watched shows, the OA one. Okay? I was saying that we're angels. We're the original template holders. There's a way to use movement and sound in groups to create interdimensional travel. You're able to affect things interdimensionally when you are get into groups and you do certain movements and sounds. Okay, I'm an angel. We all have an angelic version of ourselves, right? Like I have an angel. Like that's who my guide is. He's an angel, a music angel. We're angels. We hold that flame template, the blue flame template. That is what we hold. That is what I'm attracting because it's not just me. There's lots of the blue flames out here. Okay? So, what was I saying when I said I'm Clara? Okay? I'm Clara because I am here to help fix the timelines. And that timeline that I saw, that I was moved by from the story, made me want to go back in time and jump into it. I jumped into the doctor's time stream. As River Song, in a way, you could say, because we're connected, because Clara and River Song are always connected. Okay? What was I saying about? Oh, what about Kamala, the metamorph? Right? Well, I'm saying that I'm literally from another possible even universe. Okay? And I came here on a peace mission. The peace mission was going to start with a marriage, with a wedding ceremony, where I was supposed to pair bond, basically, or, energetically line up and match with, bond with the person that they had said, like, it was a critical time period. You know what I'm saying? Like a duck, when a baby duck is born and it sees its parents and it's like, okay, I got to follow that until it grows up, right? I was in that state. Perhaps there was even, just like in the show, perhaps there was even someone else that was meant to be. But what happens in the show? Kamala ends up choosing the man that teaches her to get to know herself. The greatest teachers will always turn you back into knowing who you are. Know thyself. You know? Like, because Captain Picard asked her, who are you when no one else is around? And she's like, I don't even know, because she is a metamorph. And so when she's around people, she changes to fit their personality. Every single time she can change to fit their personality. And the captain was the first person to ever say, but who are you when no one else, when you're not required to do that? Who are you? And she didn't even know. And that was true for me. After my sacred marriage ceremony, I went to my mom's house and she cried to me about how she wanted to buy me a birthday present. She wanted to buy me a cake, but she didn't even know what I like. And neither did I. Neither did I. Like, that's what set me on this. So this is what I was saying with that one. That's part of my story. All right. And lastly, the last one I'll talk about, because I'm sure I am going to go into fairy dump. Not today. It was all too much. I got what I got. This is what we're doing. The last one I'm going to mention. What was I telling you in this story of the mountain from Adventure Time? I feel like this one should be pretty obvious. So if you recall, the mountain was an episode about Lemongrab going on basically an adventure to the mountain of Matthew, where there's a cloud being there that lives called Matthew. Okay, and it's like a spiritual quest. When you go through this mountain, you are given different options, and you have to choose the right option in order to get to that next stage, and that next stage, and that next stage. And ultimately, what it does is it brings you to yourself. And if you choose that and you choose you, then you get to meet the cloud being known as Matthew. And so you get there and he gives you an option, basically. He says, do you want to become one with us? Or not, basically. And Lemongrab, he's a fucking asshole. So of course he doesn't. The whole reason he's there is just because he's fucking annoyed with this guy, right? And he's like, I'm gonna ruin the whole thing. And Finn tries to have to stop him. And Lemongrab throws that Lemon John candy into the mouth, and it busts this cloud open. And the cloud, what pours out of it? A bunch of people. And they're all fucking pissed because they're like, dude, do you know how long it took us to make this collective, basically? And now you just broke us up for what? Because you want to be a fucking sourpuss? Like, come on, Lemongrab. Like, what the fuck, So what am I saying with that? We're forming a real collective. That was the point of binding us together, so to speak, in the sacred marriage ceremony. Because, I do remember And I didn't mention this earlier when I talked about the wicked stepmother. One of the things that I did tell her, I said, oh, let me get it back. Hold on. Hold on. I said, it's not like I didn't know I was taking a risk by sharing the things that I shared. I took a real fucking chance. I told her, I said, these people could have been like, fuck off. They could have blocked me. They could have done so many different options, but they didn't. They let me just exist and they let me have my feelings. And that was the greatest gift. That I didn't feel shamed or judged for it. Felt like I was just okay to be who I was. And I said, but ooh. I said, quite honestly, woman, I said, like, I've even thought about, like, what would I do? Like, at the time, I was like, what if the world started to end? We all lost cell phone service or anything like that. I said, it's not like I didn't know I was taking a risk. I said, but honestly, I said, all I have to do if I really want to see how they're doing and to check on them, all I have to do is close my eyes and tap into my very own heart, because they connected us. They connected them. And I've done enough of the fucking experiments to know at this point, and I'm not going into examples of that, but that is what happened. And it was the greatest gift I've ever been given. So this is why I'm trying to help other people get there. That's why I'm always like, come on over here. What are you doing? Like, just come and hang out with us. Like, it's the voice. Your voice, it attunes people. It aligns people. People need spaces to where they can come and they can sit and they can do these things, these meditations, these tonings and things of that nature, because it's making the collective bigger. That's why the dream I had about it being my wedding reception and there's these strange women in my house, and I'm like, why? And they're like, you got married, don't you remember? I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? And they're like, yes, you did. It's 9/17. You got married. Because that was the formation of the collective. And I'm so honored and blessed to even be a part of it. So these are the things I've been saying. I thought most people would get them easier without me having to freaking just spell them out like that. But apparently they didn't, because there are other people that I would tell these types of stories to, and I would just wait and see what they would think. And they weren't picking it up. They weren't. And I'm like, how? Why do I really? But that's the world I live in right now. That's the world I live in. It's like, I told you, like, even though I have this beautiful love story with my boyfriend and stuff, it's not like we don't have arguments and stuff still. And let me tell you, I am so fucking telepathic. The one day we had an argument, I literally heard everything he was saying before he even texted it to me, which was kind of helpful, actually, because then I could prepare exactly what I was going to say back. So he would come and we would talk on the phone, and he'd be like, I'm feeling like this. And I'd be like, blah, 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 blah. There you go. What now? Like, I got, this? Oh, wow. I didn't hear that before. Okay, what? I'm fucking, I hear you guys. But according to the telepathy tapes and stuff, the telepathy can be interfered with when it comes to when you're not being in the frequency of love. That's what connects us. Being in the frequency of love connects people telepathically. It makes that space open and available. But when you get large crowds of people, and let's say not everyone is in alignment like that, well, then it's going to shut it down. Because how many times have people, you tell someone you're telepathic, and they're like, oh yeah, what am I saying right now? What's on my mind right now? And it's like, get the fuck out of here. Like, I can't do it now. No, because you put me on the spot in this weird fucking way, and you energetically took us out of that. But if we're just doing it, we've all done it just naturally when you're hanging out with a good friend, someone that you love and care about, and it's like they say something before, and you already know what they're gonna say. That's love is the answer. Love is what does that. Love is what does that. Okay. Wow. Yeah. So I didn't get to go over the love between fairy and devil one, but I sure hope that I got a good start off here with the Princess and the Frog, because I'm very, like, I don't know what that was. I'm grateful. There's the word. I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful for all the experiences I've been able to have at this point. I'm grateful for the amount of them. I'm grateful that God poured them on me like a fucking waterfall, because honestly, that was what that's what I needed. I wasn't never gonna be able to come out here without a waterfall of fucking evidence. Because like I said, guys, I could sit here all day and go over tons and tons and tons more of very similar experiences, but then we'd be here all day. We'd be here all day and night for a long time. So, on that note, let's pull some cards real quick, and then I'll let you all go because I know it's been a while. I knew this was going to be a long one. I knew it was going to be a long one. Sorry. But I had to finish it. I've waited so long. It's like every week that I wanted to go back and do it and finish this up, it was like, it wasn't happening. I was like, and who knows if I'll be able to get back out here, before the next conference. God, I hope I can. I do want to come back before the next conference. I did buy my costume for the costume contest. I just hope I'm going to have to get some other accessories with it. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'm really bad at keeping secrets, though. I really want to just tell you. So I really want to tell everyone here, like, what it is. But if you have any guesses, this will be fun. Okay, I'm putting it in my heart and my mind of what I'm going to be, and if you have any guesses, all right, put it in the comments under this video. Put it in the comment section so I can see if anyone gets it right before the conference. Okay. And I would be the alchemist if I could, but that outfit would be too hot for me. I don't know if okay, honestly, I already looked for the outfit because I wanted to do it so bad. I wanted to be the alchemist with the robes and everything like that, since I'm so into alchemy and everything. But I can't. Like, it's such a spectacular outfit. I mean, the hat was the closest I could come to, and like, oh man, it's about embodying it. Okay, let's clear the air a little bit. Clear the space. Yeah. Very. Just taking a couple deep breaths. Feel free to join me in alignment with the collective. Yes, we're ready. Okay. Let's do the collective card pull for this week. What does the collective need to know? Okay, please assist me. Please let this be a clear reading. Please let everyone who needs to hear it hear it. Okay. So let's do this. Don't forget, the fortune cookie was embrace the unknown. It's where your future flourishes. Okay. Embrace that. Let's see if we get anything similar. What's the first part of the message from the collective? Oh, baby. You know what? We ended on this one last time. Isn't that crazy? I remember that. It was literally how long ago? And I remember this is the card that we pulled. This was the last card of the last in the River Song one. This was the last card of the 3-card reading from the last one. So we are picking up where we left off, apparently. Okay. We got the 2 of Pentacles here. So what's going on here? Oh, we got our alchemist hat. We're talking about that. Yeah. We're juggling things. Okay, we're walking a tightrope, so to speak. We got something going on in the background there. We got a big wave coming. That's what's water. You know what? It's emotions. So is it going to hit you? Is it like a tsunami? I'm not sure. It could just be washing up on the beach and everything, even. You know what I'm saying? It might not necessarily be that it's a wave coming for you, but it could be. Okay, this is someone who is really juggling everything in their life right now, and it's not a pattern quite honestly that they can keep up forever. Eventually, something has to give. But for the time being, you absolutely can have your cake and eat it too. Okay? But eventually, the other shoe has to drop. It's like a juggling act. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm actually hearing a song. I'm hearing "Walking the Tightrope with You" from The Greatest Showman, which is funny because it's not even really a song I like that much. But that's what I'm hearing. So if you resonate with even that song, okay, please give it a check out. Called the Tightrope from The Greatest Showman. All right, so this is the first part of the message. We got some juggling that we're doing. We got a lot. Like I feel like it's like just nonstop busy. There's something to get done all the time. There's no free time even anymore. It's just this constant juggling life that we're doing. Even if you want to take it to like you're alchemizing things inside, it's like time. Yeah, okay. Because if he's got the alchemist hat on, you know what I'm saying? So what is it that he's creating? What is it that he's in the middle of making? If it's a creative process too, you got to realize eventually that creative process comes to a close when you reach the conclusion of it, but you're still in the middle of it right now. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull the next card. More on this one. What's the next card? Yeah, right here. Oh, baby, we got the Knight of Cups coming through for us. God, so help me. They better give me like a character that I can relate to in the future. I'm just going to ask them now. Like, you need to give me a character from the future that I can stamp on this card, because I always have a hardest time with the court cards. I'm not going to lie to you guys here. I have a hard time with the court cards, especially with these cups here, like this Knight of Cups. So this is an emotional journey you're on. So whatever's going on right here, right? There's one with this juggling act, right? This is an emotional journey right now you're getting ready to go forward with. Okay, he's not a King of Cups at this point yet, so even though he knows he has deep emotions, he might not know exactly what all those are. Like, he's still going to have to stop and take the time to really sort through what those feelings even are. It's kind of like when I tell you guys about when my guides give me like energies, and I have, or even around other people, like learning to identify what certain energies are that don't naturally occur for me. That can be a struggle. So you're still in the process of that. You're still trying to identify all these emotions and what they are. But he is swift at this point. He's a quick thinker. He's kind of shielded and protected, it looks like, though, since he's got this helmet on. He likes to maybe keep what he thinks guarded. Because it's not about the thinking for him. It's more going to be about the feeling. The feeling is going to tell you so much more than what the thinking is going to do. And he's moving forward. Like, I get this feeling that he's moving forward with something. It's like, it's like that. Like, go. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of a sense I'm getting. Okay. No, I think that's it for that. Like, I want to read into the flowers, but I don't. I think that's not something we need to pay attention to at this point. So, anyway, last card, guys. This card. Okay, so where are we going with all this, right? It's the last part of the message. Oh, baby. Queen of Swords. We know a lot about this lady. We've seen her out here quite a lot. I'm definitely, I think, can be a very good example of a Queen of Swords. If you have a sun sign that is an air sign, you could have very strong swords energies. This is someone who has like a lot to say. She's got a lot to say down there. Look at all those swords. They're all just bent up. It's like she's a word bender. She's able to, it's like, I the thing I'm feeling from this actually is more like, remember when I talked about like when they throw the energies at me and then I got to put the clothes on them? You know what I'm saying? Like these swords, that's the clothes she puts on the words, so to speak. So it's like, you have to learn, if this is a feeling journey, what they're asking you to do is to feel those feelings, look at them, right? and then learn how to clothe them properly with the words. All right, you have a lot of support here at your hilt. Okay, so you're not alone in whatever it is you're doing. Like this is like a collective energy. I'm getting the feeling of. I know the rosebud always seems. I get it in like symbolically, and then it's just like it's vanished again. So I'm just feeling into what it says naturally. But yeah, she's a little. This is the thing. She's a little bit guarded. You know, maybe you're a little bit guarded because of all the emotions, you know, and not knowing what's going to happen. It's kind of like I'm walking that tightrope, tight rope. Okay, with you here. I even feel like honestly, it's saying to me like she's a little closed down right now, a little bit in some ways. Like I just get like a hesitation feeling from the black part of that. I don't usually get that, but if that resonates with you, definitely take it. Anyway, this is someone who's not afraid to say what she means and means what she says. And she's really good at, like, she can say things in a way to where it might be a harsh truth, but she can say it in a way to where you'll receive that truth as it's gentle, so to speak. Not even so much gentle. It's like you'll hear it and she'll be like, yeah. You'll hear what she's saying and you'll be like, damn, like I can't believe she just said that, but yeah, you know what? Yeah, that's right. You know, and that's the gift that she's giving you. Okay, she's a queen. Okay, and I did kind of notice on the bottom here. I don't always look at the bottom of the deck, but we do have this card on the bottom of the deck, like a little secret, like a little hidden. Whoop. We got a happy ending coming. So if there is something that you're worried about, if there is something that you're nervous about that's juggling back and forth and it's making you go on an emotional journey and you don't even know what to say about it, you know what I'm saying? Maybe you need someone else to help you figure out how to put it into words. Even maybe she can assist you with that. Ultimately, though, you're gonna get the happiest ending because the Ten of Cups is the happiest ending. It's people who really see each other. It's true intimacy. It's true love. So look forward to that, guys. Oh, I really like this. I liked that reading. That was a good reading. Oh, I would totally offer to pull more, but at this point, we're like coming up on almost 3 hours, and I processed a lot here today. So there you go. All right. Speak now or forever hold your peace. If there's anything else y'all want to say it. Because I'm about to fucking smoke a joint that I rolled for after this show as the horrors are over, so now I must have a little treat. And don't forget, like I said, guys, whoever is like now and later, I know, because like it's like this is going to be recorded, so it's not like people can't watch this in the future. So if you are watching this in the future, come hang out with me on my Facebook page because I post some really good memes and I've even been making some of them. Before I just attracted them all. Now I've actually been trying to make them, and it's a lot of fun. Oh, a hat for my costume? Oh, wow. Oh, did I tell you what it was already? Wait a second. Jason, did you come back? Oh my God, you were back for a bit. Would love a card pull. You know what? Just because you came back, fuck it, Jason. I'm going to pull you a card. If you're still here. Let's see. Did you leave? Is he here? Good, Victor. Try to tap into it. I'm gonna send you this is how we practice, guys. I'm gonna send you the mental image of what it is. Oh, I'm so excited for it. I hope it fits right. I don't know. It was a very expensive dress, and I don't know. I really took a chance here. Don't say it here though. You can just put it in the comments, or you can text me about it. But if Jason doesn't answer, he's not getting a card. If he left, swear to God. Should I do it anyway? Should I pull one card for him anyway? I'm only gonna do one card though. We're gonna simplify it if I do that. Should I do it? 3 minutes. Oh, wait a second. Oh, Don't guess that. No, it's not though. Oh, you see that you're gonna make me give you hints. You're gonna give it away possibly. No, it's. I wish it was a Doctor Who costume, but those ones are very. Yeah, that would be very hard to pull off unless I was like just the Doctor. You know what I'm saying? Because the companions. Yeah. I actually did try to find clothes like Clara once before, but I never can find them, and I don't think I look very good in them anyway. What things that she wears. Oh, you're the best, Astro. Aw, thanks. Oh shit. Let's light up this cigarette, and I guess let's end the stream. I hope I brought enough evidence here to you guys today to see that shit's fucking crazy. I don't know exactly how it all works. All I know is something I'm doing is working. So if you like the stories that I tell you and you want to know what that's like, start believing it's possible. Start believing it's possible for you. You know? I want everyone to have the best experiences. I really want to help line people up with their best timelines, you know? So I threw myself back here into this planet, into that storm that I chased all those years ago. You know? I love you guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope you come to the conference in July. I'm excited. And I love my boyfriend. Bye.